This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. This One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
Hi, this is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me, I have Rich Latta. Rich, we here, man. It is the review of WrestleMania 41, 2-night show. We're not going to start at there. I just wanted to say this is what the show is. It is going to be a condensed show this tonight. We're going to give you our thoughts and feelings, but we're not going to go into detail on it. We're going to give you a regular podcast, a regular wrestling podcast that lasts like an hour and a half, as opposed to what our normal podcast, which is normally like, sometimes stretching 3 hours. So, Rich, where do you want to start, man? Or actually, before we get to that, how you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Got the green belt today, so it's a good day for me. And I feel like we've got a lot of great topics to talk about, and I want to get to them. We can start with AEW Spring Break, a show that some people are calling the greatest Dynamite of all time. And it's just like, incredible matches in Boston. It went over to they were in the Red Sox, like the Fenway Music Hall, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Very unique building. Liked it a lot. Super loud in
3
there.
decks.
We let off. Yeah, we let off with Mercedes and Athena, a dream match, and these two being kept apart for this long made it all the more special once they finally got in the ring together. This was awesome. Oh, yeah. I love this.
Yeah, this match lived up to it. Now, I will say this match was not perfect, but their degree of difficulty will allow you to live with some of the unsmoothness of this match, especially at the start. But they get out the way to say like the level of execution for this is like somewhere around an 8 for everything they did, maybe 7.5. But considering that the level of difficulty was somewhere on the gymnastics grading scale of like a damn, I don't know, I think it goes to 11, I can't remember, but whatever it is, let's say it was 10, it was a damn 9.8 for difficulty. They did so much shit in this match. And whenever they have a rematch, they're going to do reverse to so much shit in this unique shit in this match. This match was a high bar to clear. I think they cleared it. I thought this match was fucking awesome. I thought this. I mean, it's just Mercedes. I think this might be my favorite Mercedes match in AEW. This might be my favorite Mercedes match in AEW, and that's saying something because she has some bangers with Willow and Stat.
Yeah, I don't know if it's my favorite one, but I'm definitely locked into whatever these two, because there was a lot of pressure, especially on Athena. It was like, a lot of people, had said she's held that belt too long, she's overrated, she's been behind this paywall, and she walked back in there and was like,
shut the fuck up.
They kept me away for a reason, and now I'm coming back. And I'm across from Mercedes, a match that like has always kind of circled the world of wrestling for years, literally going back, 6, 7, 8 years. And we know these two wanted to do it. And this ain't the last time we're going to see it. Mercedes ends up winning with this jackknife pin combination. And Tony Storm is sitting up there. And, we get like a little tease of Mercedes versus Tony, which feels like a gigantic match at this point.
Yeah. Now I see Nithling here saying that Athena is the most athletic women's wrestler on the planet. Right? She's a beast. I mean, I would say no, seeing what I just saw on Sunday. Like, Bianca Belair still exists. And like, if you want to say they're similar athletes, sure. But if they're similar athletes and one is way bigger, the bigger athlete's the better athlete. So there's that. And also there's also the strength factor involved with that too. So but that's not to take away from Athena. I will say this, forget the athletic part as far as coordination, agility, timing. She's all time. Amongst women's wrestlers we've ever seen. I'll say this about Athena. I was told this by Swerve once. He told me that she is one of the 10 best people that he's ever wrestled. Yeah, that don't surprise me. That's what I've heard. About Athena. There are people too that come to mind to me when I think of they remind me of AJ Styles in the ring, as far as with their ability to move, their ability to control their body, their I forgot what it's called. Like their ability, almost like a gymnast, to know where they are in space, in air, right? And that'd be Io Shirai and Athena. Those are the two. Like, you've heard me for years. I don't think I've ever did it on air, but like, you've heard me be like, I think Io Shirai is like the AJ Styles, prime AJ Styles of women's wrestling. I put Athena in that kind of category, especially when she's on her game like she is right now. So yeah, man, she's special. And she's been underutilized in different spots or whatever else. And now she's on the main roster again, the main roster of AEW. And she just let people know, like, in case y'all forgot, in case you didn't know what I was doing in Ring of Honor, I maybe not been doing shit exactly like this, but I was having absolute bangers on these ROH pay-per-views. There's a reason why I was main eventing these things. And yeah, man, can't wait to see what she has in store and on the main roster. I keep saying the main roster as a joke. Now it's turned into reality of AEW. Bro, I can't wait to see her versus Chris Statlander. That shit's gonna be out of this world. That shit's gonna be out of this world. They're gonna be in there hitting. A big match set it for that. Oh, it's gonna be crazy.
Gonna be in there hitting.
Because Athena's gonna put her on her shoulders. Yeah. And they're gonna be doing all sorts of reverse Rana, crazy pop-up shit. So yeah.
So we had the Young Bucks and Okada interrupting Hangman backstage. Matt basically said it had been a while, but they accepted Hangman's apology, which he never offered an apology. Bucks were a little bit delusional there. Yes. Matt said he wanted Hangman to win and eventually bring the title back to the Elite. Then Kazuchika Okada treated Hangman like a woman and told him to smile. That Hangman did not take kindly to.
Treated him like he was a woman and Hangman was a black man.
That too. You should smile more.
That happened to me like 2 weeks ago. Some lady at Sam's Club gave me some joke I wasn't having. I was trying to get out of there. She's like, "You should try smiling." I gave her exactly what I gave her before. Not a damn thing, and then left.
Hangman got in Okada's face. Okada called him a bitch. And, as he walked away, it was on some Debo, when he leave, you be talking again type shit. Right. After that, we got a Hangman Page against a wild card out of the 2 wild cards that happened this weekend. And I promise I will get to putting the World Wrestling Federation in a pack. This was the much better one. We got Hangman Page.
Yes. The much better one out of TNA. Yes.
Yes. We got the walking weapon, Josh Alexander. So this was a good time to debut him. So Darby's not in the tournament. I don't know what to think of that yet. But, yeah. We'll kick that can down the road.
Look, kick it down the road, because if he had showed up, Boston might have booed that man. Look what you're holding up. Look at what you were holding up. So yeah. But what do you think of the match?
I thought it was really good. These guys, like Josh Alexander, works a style that fits right with my sensibilities in pro wrestling. Throws suplexes, physical. I've watched some of his matches in TNA, and he's, like you add him into that class of guys that are like the new injection in this promotion. Kevin Knight, Speedball, him, somebody else I'm missing, but on the women's side, Mina, like this is like a fresh watering of the talent pool, I'd say.
Yeah.
But yeah, the right finish here. Hangman wins and moves on.
Right. My only gripe, well, given the night, is not a gripe, but it's like if he's gonna come in, maybe you don't load the card up that much and you let him like be on Collision versus Hangman, so they can go maybe like 5 more minutes, so you can get a little bit more in. But outside of that, everything else is picture perfect for me. But given the night, it's like, nah, we got to get you out. We can't give you the extra 5 minutes because what else we got on? We got the opener and we got the closer. Or not the closer, but the semi-main event. Sorry.
And they had to do this angle that followed the match where Kyle Fletcher and Don Callis came down the ramp trying to intimidate Hangman. Page then approached Fletcher and they began a brawl. Page hit Fletcher with a big lariat outside the ring. Don was shown talking to Josh Alexander, fellow Canadian, fellow bald man.
Yes.
And Josh Alexander then jumped in the ring and jumped on Hangman, powerbombed him. And Hangman ended up winning this match with a small package. Yep. And so they kind of, did, somewhat protecting of him. And then
they tried to pull out method. A little bit of protection.
Yeah.
A little bit of protection.
Yeah. Yep. So after that, we had the patriarchy backstage.
Do you like Callis with them though, or do you like Alexander teasing that he's going to be in Callis' family?
Yes, because like there was another angle that happened to where like the Don Callis family is like they're getting like another refresh.
Yeah.
There was somebody that got injured, I forgot, recently, and he's basically replaced them. So Josh Alexander's there. Now Rocky Romero turned on Tomohiro Ishii on Collision. Trent returned, and they reformed Roppongi Vice, and they're a part of the Don Callis family.
Okay.
So from there, Nick Wayne is cussing out Christian, basically. Daddy's home, Nick. Christian's sitting there. Nick says, I don't think you stuck to the plan because you couldn't live with yourself if Colt became a champ if you did. So he's getting real uppity with his pops and all that. Christian might have to show that old man strength. Christian said that's an assumption, not a fact. But I was impressed with what you did while I was away. So I personally, myself, booked you in the Best of Super Juniors in New Japan because it's something you wanted. But tomorrow you face Commander, and Nick Wayne ended up beating Commander for the ROH TV title, if I'm not mistaken. So gave him also a little bit of protection when he goes over to Japan as well.
Yeah. Well, they gonna like him. They finna like him over there. Be like, oh, awesome, Ospreay. we remember this 2016, 15.
Yep.
Yeah. But
Callum Newman is over there.
I like the segment where it's like, all right, like Nick Wayne's kind of growing up to it, understanding like what's making he better understands what makes Christian tick, and Christian don't want to admit that he know that Nick Wayne's on the what happened. I like it.
Yeah. Yep. Then we ended up getting hold on, I lost my notes. Okay. We got the World Tag Team title match between the Hurt Syndicate and the Gates of Agony. Niggas, I feel like everything about this match proved what we said about a Hurt Syndicate. You're going to need some niggas in there with some size that they respect and that they will move around for. I think Gates of Agony was a little bit nervous in this. They were kind of at the beginning of the match, there was a little bit of nervousness from Toa Leona. They were kind of rushing through, a few like missed kind of spots, but overall,
you think it was the tape on his feet that made him slip a little bit?
I don't know. It was like some of the strikes were off. It was just like, I think they were trying really careful not to hurt these guys and like do something to like these top kind of guys or whatever, and just be.
I grew up watching these niggas.
Guys. Yeah. So like, I think from there it was a solid match and all that. And but
is this the time where we talk about what Bishop Khan brought down to the ring in the garb?
He's worn that before.
I don't remember seeing that before. And look, man, those are the traditional Grecian silks.
Yes.
I'm like, what? I'm like, oh.
I love the
Are we
look
sure you should be wearing this in front of Miss Company like this? This seems kind of this seems kind of holy. Anyway, we can move on.
King of the North says, do I think I was afraid to, or do you think they were afraid to mess up to avoid a benching? I would just think anytime you're in the ring with someone with that much more experience than you, and this is the first time you're really getting a chance to be on Dynamite, like you want to you want to stay there. So that's what I think it was.
Yeah, and they haven't been on Dynamite in a minute.
Yeah. So after that, we ended up with a very controversial segment. A lot of people did not like this. I personally thought it was kind of it's not something I would have done.
Right.
MJF comes out and he says, cut my music, give it up for the Hurt Syndicate. Here's the deal. As you guys know, I bring a lot to the table. I'm not just talking about my own, but I got some talent in the back that's just dying. You're going to like this. Bring them out. They hit the Hurt Syndicate music, and then he brings out several women wearing small black dresses. I don't know if they're indie wrestlers or whatever, but he basically brought these women out to sex traffic them, essentially, to the Hurt Syndicate. And you're a woman, imagine that you did not feel awesome watching this. I think that everyone should check out the Tonal Talk segment on this because I'm not a woman or anything, so I don't know how I would personally feel about it, but just seeing it from my perspective, it is a lot of MJF needing an editor. And, you look at the start of the show with Mercedes, Athena, and then it's like one step forward, two steps back. And this isn't the first time MJF has leaned on the misogamy stuff. We saw the thing with him and Jeff Jarrett earlier this year. This is all kind of part of the MJF mix to where, he's also trying to be Sami Zayn also with this in the bloodline. He's trying to win over this group who's skeptical of him.
And it's I'll also tell you this. It's him being lazy. Is his lazy bottom of the barrel MJF. And you know what his excuse is going to be? Well, I'm a bad guy. Of course I'm a misogynist. That's what it's going to be.
Right.
If you ask him what his excuse will be, he'd be like, I'm a bad guy. Bad guys are, Like, but there's like, bro, I just saw you do the Hangman feud. Do better. Do better consistently, man.
ML Kid in the comments saying MJF wearing a kente cloth scarf while parading these white women around would have been hilarious. Okay, I'll take half of that. If he wants to do that, the kente cloth thing, I think that might be kind of fun. He
didn't do that because some of those women weren't just white. Some of those women were light skinned. It was just women.
Yeah.
Now, don't, because you're not going to tell me that MJF is hip to the brown paper bag test. I guarantee that never crossed his mind. Stop it. Knock it the fuck off. That's something me and Rich think about. That's not what MJF thinks about or worries about at all. Stop it.
Give MJF the kufi and give him a pocket square with the kente. And
can we get him a white one that matches like similar to what Terrence Howard was wearing recently?
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Let's give him that little cap. Y'all know which one I'm talking about when you start seeing those brothers talking about conspiracies and the world is flat and the earth is flat and stuff. They're usually wearing that white hat, and y'all know that white hat that I'm talking about. So I didn't love this. I think MJF can do better, and I think the company should reconsider these things before they have more issues with women. So then Alicia too was backstage. She wanted to get a word with the Hurt Syndicate. The Hurt Syndicate was, basically said Bobby told MVP he did not trust MJF. MVP said this was business. They could use MJF to get what they want. Told Bobby to ease up. Then we got the match of the weekend.
This is the folly. This is where it's all gonna go down, right? Like, let's say if it were all white women, right? He was tipping with that, and that was actually like the covert story. It's like, nah, man. Like, you're not finna fight white supremacy by using tools white supremacy. That's not how that works. You can't fight fire with fire in this situation. That never works. It's never worked. You can move on. We can move on.
We got a fucking smoker match of the year contender. One of the best matches to ever occur on AEW Dynamite. A 5-star match, absolutely. I think Dave ended up going 5.5 on this. And Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita semifinal match, rematch of their match from Revolution last year, which was one of my other favorite matches of all time. This here, yelling at my screen, James. Like, this was just making me think. I was watching, a long time ago, I think on this show I might have said, I think Ospreay and Takeshita are the next generation of like Okada versus Omega.
Mm-hmm.
And they ain't proved me wrong yet. Like, this just makes me feel better and better and better about these guys, because the placement of the things in this match to take the fans higher and higher and higher, and the crowd just get more into it and more into it. And it's just like they keep repeatedly busting the audience open, for lack of better words. Like, I thought it was just like, I was yelling voice notes in the Discord.
Say that
like,
again. They was doing what to the crowd?
They were busting the crowd open. Like, yes. Yes. They were literally, yeah. They were literally like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it was like they just, when the crowd think they're just like they just keep like, enhancing upon that. And it was just all-time match. I love this. Will Ospreay, fucking sorcerer, out of this world, and Konosuke Takeshita, he's got a most outstanding argument right now. Just everything that this guy is touching is just
yeah. This match was awesome. It was so awesome that I actually rewatched the Revolution match because I actually yesterday was watching the first two playoff games. Then there was like an hour before WrestleMania was supposed to start. I don't watch it at the start. So I was like, I got some time. I was at the house for Easter. So I was like, all right, Kane's with me watching the first two games. I put on Revolution. Ospreay Takeshita. Kane losing his fucking mind. He loves Will Ospreay. And then after that, I put on the Danielson match at Dynasty. And he likes Danielson. He didn't like Danielson versus Ospreay. He loves Ospreay now. He only saw 2 matches ever now. He loves him now. But yeah, man, he
the greatest wrestler of all time.
He couldn't fucking believe some of the shit Ospreay was doing in them 2 matches, man. But yeah, anyway. But I was watching, and this is my first time rewatching those 2 matches ever. And I was like, man, it's so impressive. So impressive. And it's like, those 2 matches are, the last match was the match of the year last year. And it's like, I don't think it's like, just completely out of the realm of being so much better than the Takeshita matches. I just don't. Like, these matches all kind of are, they're closer than we give them credit for being, except for, stage and like wanting to see a dream match type of thing and the hype around these sorts of things. So yeah, man, I'm with you. Like, these are some beyond 5-star, like, Dave Meltzer, beyond 5-star match we've seen with him and Takeshita. Yeah.
Yeah. This was just, I felt like the people that were watching the show, and this was like following the Mercedes and Athena match, which everybody already loved. The Hangman joint, the good angle there. Only, misstep was the MJF stuff. And even that kind of worked in front of the crowd, which, for whatever reason. But it just felt like such a celebration, this show, that you didn't even think about them basically firing Eric Bischoff into the fucking sun.
I think that was intentional, not like stabbed in the knife. But yeah, man, it was there.
It wasn't even necessary.
It was definitely a victory lap of a show. And it was a feel good moment. It was a definite, or a really needed feel good moment for AEW after what happened at the last pay per view. Like, they needed a kind of we always do this. Like, every time there's any type of misstep, we're like, oh, it's in the promotion until they save it. And this is another example of part 500 or part 50 where they've had to save the promotion. And they did it definitely that night. But we continue with the rest of the show.
Yeah, Will Ospreay is going to be facing off with either Kyle Fletcher or Hangman Page. Looks like they're going to do Ospreay and Hangman.
Sounds like a can't miss situation. Oh, it's going to be either him or it's going to be either Hangman or Fletcher. Okay, so either Ospreay versus another guy that's one of the best wrestlers of this era, or versus a guy that he's had one of the best feuds the last like half decade with in the span of like the last year. It seems like a no lose situation unless someone gets hurt.
Yeah, like just the reaction to Will on this show.
He's the one.
He's so great, bro.
He's the one.
So great. Like, and they have like we always talk about the cluster of guys that they have that are in their early 30s that are just these super workers, and they all fucking like each other,
or maybe even
so
their late 20s.
rare. Appreciate this. I beg of you guys, appreciate this, because like contracts break these things up, injuries break these things up, and just timing break these things up. While these guys are all here, appreciate the fact that they are willing to do business with each other, and this whole thing is just going to be how far can they take it. So we got trios championship match. Hook was taken out. I believe he was not cleared to compete. So they said the Death Riders will be taking on the Ops, and it was just Joe and Shibata, and then they had one more partner, and then here comes this big black nigga from Oakland named Powerhouse Hobbs with them. So we've got Joe, Shibata, and Hobbs. Like,
who's ever beating them? remember when Mike and Emeka won the tag title? You're like, who's ever beating them?
It was like the Hurt Syndicate. It's like, which one of those niggas do you want to try?
Right.
You know, like, you just don't.
Right. Like, Undertaker, like Brothers Destruction, Undertaker and Kane are the tag team champions. How do you ever beat them? What the fuck? Who allowed this? How did the commission allow these two to be a tag team? These are two dominant forces in the singles division. How are they in the tags now? Like, how do you allow Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Powerhouse Hobbs to be in trios? That's unfair.
Crazy, dog. So they have this main event. Essentially, the whole thing's hot. People are feeling like, I think the Death Riders were ripe for the pickings here. They didn't have their normal lineup, even though Moxley was in there.
Did we hear about
in this
Pac?
I believe he might be out for like 4 months. I thought I heard or something like that, but something with the ankle, I think.
Damn it.
But hopefully he's all right. He gets back quicker. But this thing kind of broke down from just a big. This was a standard 6-man until it just started escalating. And, Mox was out there, grabbed a steel chair. Will Nightingale ran down, disarmed him, gave him the middle finger, which is hilarious. Then, from there, Hobbs, dropped Claudio with a spine buster. Moxley got nailed by Samoa Joe. Then all of a sudden, the Young Bucks were walking down to a bunch of boos. And then they circle the ring, but Swerve appears from the corner, takes the chair that they grabbed, and Swerve stomps on both the EVPs, gets them out of there. The fans are going insane at this point. They reacted to Swerve in that short thing just as much as they reacted to the other two big baby faces on the show so far.
Yes. Rich, walkthrough. It's a walkthrough. If you show up on this is my new shit. If you show up on a wrestling show and you kick someone's ass and you take no bumps, that's a walkthrough. You got paid for that. That's a walkthrough.
Crowd's getting hotter and hotter at this point. Marina tried to hit Hobbs with the steel chair, but Willow got Marina out of there with a big clothesline. This left Joe and Moxley dead to rights with Joe. Put the clutch on him, and then Moxley tapped out fucking immediately, and the roof blew off this thing. It was like the Death Riders were allowed to finally show some ass, and people were going up for it. They were a lot better tonight than we have brutalized the Death Riders over this past 6 or 7 months. The last couple of weeks in spots, they have stepped their game up. On the pay-per-view at Dynasty, that trios match they had. This title change here, and kind of how good it felt. They were part of that. There was a lot of interference and all that, but this kind of needed to be a team effort. And I think this was when I say that, everyone cleared the ring, people started coming out, and it was this big celebration that was reminiscent of one of those times when Luger would win the title in WCW and everybody would celebrate. And it wasn't just about the trios titles. This was about this company making it this far. This was about this company surviving in the face of a pandemic, a media assault that is bankrolled from the enemy
from Saudi Arabia. Bankrolled by Saudi Arabia.
That too. And it's just it just felt like really good to see the good guys win. And if you're an AEW fan, you feel like, you'd have been through some shit watching this show, and this shit like surpassed Nitro now. Like that's a huge deal in the history of pro wrestling. And Ishii was just hanging out, just happened to be off that day in Boston, just happened to be there. Kevin Knight popping bottles, as they're saying in the comments. Will Ospreay drinking champagne and shit.
Yeah.
Trying to do the gritty, but he couldn't do it.
That's the one thing you mentioned as far as the AEW roster and the certain age guys being so close and like pay, appreciate while you can is like, a decade ago, that was the New Japan roster with Shibata and Ishii and Okada and Omega and Tanahashi and Naito and Ibushi and Goto. Right? It was Murder's Row. And think of all the great, all-time matches we got out of that. All-time rivalries we got out of that. Appreciate when you get a special collection of talent together. Because you don't know how it's going to go. So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this is a huge week for AEW. They had a collision show that followed up that was very well received. Harley and Mercedes are looking like they about to be on some rock and sock shit. Yep. Like it's about to go. That's going to be the next thing that works, and it's gonna drop Mercedes actually into feeling like she's just not Mercedes having the great matches.
Yeah. So what I've finally realized. Remember we talked about this before. When it comes to her, is like she's not good at TV. She's good at one thing. She's showing that she's good at one thing. She's good
across from somebody.
She's good at the rock and sock stuff. She's good at being the cool one to the Bailey or at this particular situation right now, Mariah. Not Mariah, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm blanking on her. Harley. Of just like, yep. I will be the cool one with the fashion and the star power and the aura and all that kind of stuff. And like, I can be next to the dorky one. And we can show appreciation. She done it as a babyface and heel with Bailey. She's doing it now with Harley, and it's working. And like it was work. It was in motion with the small little stuff. Even back when they were having their match going to back a few months ago. Now it's this, and they're doing the tag stuff. And now she's talking to the puppet. She's talking to Minnie Monet. It's working. It's gonna work. She knows she is going to work, because remember she was singing that song back in the day, and now she it's in her head. It's like a mind worm. Yeah, man, it's fun watching. It's fun watching Harley, and it's fun watching Mercedes like put it over slowly. Oh, so slowly. Yeah, it's fun.
It is. Like the second that Harley is getting her ass worn out by somebody, and then Mercedes comes to save her. Oh my God! Like, look, it's hanging in the rafters now. It's going up. Like,
or eventually, or it's gonna be some situation where I didn't watch the match or whatever. So I'm assuming, but like, it can always be set up where somewhere like she loses every match, and like Mercedes never helps her at the end of the match, and then at some point she helps her up, and that's the beginning of it right there. It's going to be something small, and it's going to be the part where people's going to, like, they're going to be all into it. Yeah, you're right. This is definitely helping both of them mutually very well. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a huge week for AEW. And that was just like in the face of like, we saw the PR week. We're going to get to the PR week shortly, right? This was right in the middle of all that.
The PR was wrong this week.
Yes, we will talk about it. But first, we're going to take a left turn to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Tetsuya Naito, step to the stage, my brother. So Tetsuya Naito is leaving. After nearly 20 years, he is leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. New Japan revealed via press release that they and Naito have mutually agreed to not renew. In addition to Naito, Bushi said, fuck this shit, and he quit. Naito's scheduled for New Japan appearances through May 4th. After that point, he'll no longer have any obligations to the company, and he'll be free to appear elsewhere. Nobody knows what his future plans are yet, but the company's press release emphasized that they were on good terms with him. According to Fightful Select, of course, SRS had noted that Naito was working without a contract for some time. Nobody really thought of anything because it's like, where the fuck is Tetsuya Naito going to go? But in the end, they were not able to come to a new agreement, and they walked away. And this basically like is seen, like Naito leaving is like, is down with the ship for New Japan at this point of this era. And then like you think like one thing that I thought about that I didn't really see a lot of people talk about, like Tetsuya Naito was taking them pay cuts in the middle of the pandemic.
I was about to mention it. Yep.
And I know everyone was taking those pay cuts, right? But it was always emphasized that
not the Rainmaker.
Well, he took his ass on.
Right.
But Tetsuya Naito has always been hailed as this huge merch seller, ticket seller, and the whole thing was always like, now I guess they said it may have been down from his peak, but I mean he's still their guy. So like he had a it sounded like he had a number, they had a number, and he was like, what about all this merch I sold? And they were like, what about those knees, my nigga? Like what are we gonna be putting into you going forward? I was kind of shocked to hear about this. LIJ is a huge thing. I haven't always been the biggest fan of Naito's stuff. I thought he was, regularly mid at a lot of different times. Routine, you can count on him for having the third or fourth best match on one of these big New Japan shows, but it's not necessarily about that. Like, I know a lot of people want me to fire up Naito and everything, but I don't think there's really anything to fire up because, like, I think he's going to go down as one of the greatest stars in the history of this company, one of the greatest stars of the biggest era that there was in New Japan, and just an all-time great wrestler, a Hall of Famer, and someone that is responsible for a lot of the stuff that we love the last 10 years or so in pro wrestling. Yep. And are there times where I just didn't like obviously his fans, the LIJ fans, annoying as fuck. But
the one that's in the chat right now.
Yeah, because
he had the audacity to say that Naito was would have like the third or fourth best matches on Tokyo Dome shows, which was true.
Yeah,
or Dominions.
Yeah, and I understand. He didn't get to beat Okada first. Kenny Omega did. Kenny Omega won that. He also won the series between them. So, I'm sorry. They made the right decision. But I just had to get my little kicks in. But this is the winds of change are happening all over New Japan. And, as far as where he goes next, to me, this does not scream American TV wrestler. This does not scream, he's going to AEW. Like, this doesn't scream like Tony Khan. Like, maybe he doesn't even want to travel like that. This feels like Pro Wrestling Noah, call Keiji Muto and see whatever dates you can do. And I'm not ruling out him ever appearing for New Japan again, like in a freelance fashion. But this definitely is something. Like, I don't think this is nothing as far as this guy's gone. Like, he's not gonna be working these tours when they go to those little country towns and all that shit. So.
Yeah, I'd love to know what his plan is. I don't think he for all the stuff when it comes to his carelessness about his body, he don't seem like no dummy. He just seems like he don't give a fuck about what happens to him. He a bad guy, right? But I'm gonna just see what he has in store because I don't think he saw some of those pay-per-views that Taichi and Taka Michinoku were doing and thought that and didn't think about what he could do, right? I'm sure he's thought about some of this stuff. Now, there's a thin line between Sess and Kota Ibushi post New Japan. We'll see, but after hearing the situation about his eyes, he basically said, double blind me, sir, so I can make more sense of this. I was like, and that Hiromu match was so sad, and the Dome is like, I don't know what's left. And they did the tags thing, but it seems like he's going out there on his own. So we'll see. This will not be the last time we've heard of Tetsuya Naito. This won't be the last time we talk about it on this show. But I'm interested to see what he has planned, and I don't think he's done with New Japan at all. I think obviously there's some situation where it's it could just be I think part of it anyway is I can't do these house shows no more. I can't even give you the t-shirt. Naito. I can give you, you know, I can show up on a big card to help you draw, but my body can't even hold up to doing half-assing it. You know, in Nagoya or in Sapporo no more.
I'm seeing people in the comments say Deathmatch Naito. Like, it had his man wear the jeans out there. Like, what's his name? Back in the day.
If we get Deathmatch Naito, he need to wrestle in that fucking suit. In them suits, he coming down to the ring with the tearaway pants. He need to do that. That's what needs to happen. Am I wrong?
But yeah, like, it would be funny.
It would be funny. You're like, oh, yeah. So that's why he's always been wearing those. Okay, come as you are, right?
Yep. But yeah, he beat Hiromu in the Tokyo Dome this year. That makes you want that finish back, kind of. I would think.
There you go. True worker.
You know, like is it like he was like become a dad? No, not doing that. That's for the third generation.
All right, hey man, we might need to send Wasabi King out of here. This a little too nasty. This even for us. As me being an Okada fan and you being an Omega fan, even this aspect, this man said Naito at Ichikawa Chocolate Square. Hey man,
that is sick.
You gotta go. If you don't think Tetsuya Naito can sell out a co-working hall while it's down, so right the fuck now, you are insane. That's nasty as hell. He said you can send that nigga to a fucking rec room. Get out of here. That's a fucking rec conference room, man. Fuck that. Stop that. Stop disrespecting Tetsuya Naito.
Tetsuya Naito is, you know, I don't know if they would, you know, I don't know if what he would look like, you know, in Largo, you know, or, you know, Tampa. Or,
I can't even.
Jacksonville.
I can't even.
You know, Beach.
We can't even do that, man. Nah, man. We once drove across the state to Daytona to watch that man in a tag match with Hiromu versus Kota Ibushi and Omega, man. We're not finna pretend like this man finna be out here in Largo or Tampa wrestling, you know, breaking down the ring and shit like he's like this man in main event domes and shit. Like he's not an Observer Hall of Famer and shit. We're not doing this. I'm not entertaining these jokes with you, Rich. No, I'm not doing this, man. That shit will make me sad as fuck.
Naito and, you know, find a tag partner, not him versus Hank and Tank, you know.
Stop, man. We not
Naito versus Ricky Saints.
We not finna besmirch the legend like this. Even if it's a legend that we've besmirched plenty of times on the show, we're not finna do it to this level, to this extent. This is be better tomorrow, Rich. You better than this.
Tetsuya Naito wrestling in Waimama.
Oh my god. Yeah, wrestling remote. Stop. Let's. We don't have much time, Rich. We don't have much time. We on the shot clock.
Naito versus Ethan Page. You know. Oh man. My god. That one. Naito versus Gresham on the Terminus Return show. Oh my god. Run it up. Naito wrestling in Uganda. See, the chat's going crazy now. Our job is done here. But moving on, like Tetsuya Naito,
y'all, all of y'all in here that said all that stuff, the typing this nastiness. All right, none of y'all are seeing Misawa in the afterlife. None of y'all, not a single one of you. Y'all finna burn. All right, we can move on.
You could bring Naito with Bushi and make them a tag team, and Bushi could just take the pins. You know, but huge loss for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and this company belongs to Hiroki Goto and Tomohiro Ishii now. Like they the last. Look, I want a match with them too for the IWGP title called the end of an era. This is the end of an era right here with these two. Run it up, Dominion. Run it up. Jesus, Naito versus Gangrel. Wow, at CCW, that is sick.
All right,
that is sick, brother.
We only got it's 11:33, man. You said you had a hard out by 12:30.
We got to run it.
Yeah, we ain't even touched WrestleMania yet.
We'll get there. We still got WWE. Apparently, has bought AAA. What a shock of shocks to hear this go down in the pre-show for day one of WrestleMania. It's announced that WWE has bought the Lucha Libre promotion known as AAA, the long way they say it every single time. And the first thing I think is, oh, that fucking sucks. Just because obviously anything that makes WWE stronger is usually worse for wrestling. And I think it's like, I don't really care. It's not really about the wrestlers or anything. I think people are, their mind started defaulting to like Alberto Del Rio. And of course they had Vikingo out there with them. Ignore that. Like, that shit doesn't matter. Like, that shit's like, we know the roster's terrible. We know the shows are awful. Like, it's
in the AAA
a
like
worse version. Ago. Yeah, they do the worst shows of the year all the time. But
and even when it was a AAA roster 3 years ago, they were still having some bad shows.
Right. But the thing is, they found a way, like between Dorian and, Conan, they let the white man into Mexico. Like, that's what they did here. That is the overriding factor Callis? Here. No. You should have said Jeff Jarrett. But
I mean, Callis is out there too.
When was he out there?
One Callis out there with Omega?
Yeah. That's right. He went out there to fuck with Kenny. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. But yeah, this is not good. And it's just like what things they were trying to do in Japan when they tried to buy Dragon Gate, tried to buy Pro Wrestling Noah, tried to buy Stardom. But Japan set up a little different. But they, I warn people to not just think this is all good, to think the coast is clear, everything's safe, that they're just dealing with, people who I think are considered to not be, of the sharpest business minds, like with AAA, because of how their product is. Like, WWE they have money, they just don't like to spend it. But if they get this bug up their ass, they could just go around and eliminating shit for whatever you want to watch. I don't watch AAA. James doesn't watch AAA, so maybe once a year or whatever. But like, they have a fan base, they have a history, they have a tape library, they have buildings, they have contacts with local promoters and all that. And then they usually have a pipeline. Like, and even if there's talented guys that come through there, so like, even if they're not used in whatever way you like or whatever, it's just like between CML and AAA, like those are the two. It's literally like a history of a country that's being altered right now.
Yeah. It's like, I know, I'm sure there'll be people that'll if this is clipped up, will come across and be like, well, these are two pro AEW guys, whatever else. I'm here to tell you, all this proxy war stuff happening in Mexico, happening in Japan, happening in the UK, it ain't good for AEW either. The AEW has to click up with, CMLL and Stardom and New Japan and RevPro. It ain't good for that perspective either. Like, the best. It's
just like this line. It's this line in like the world. It's two labels.
We've been talking about this for years now. At this point, with the two labels, all these sides linking up. Right when AEW. At first when the CMLL stuff was blocking the New Japan stuff at parts for AEW, it's all this stuff. It's all this shit. And then it's all these like political moves of like funneling people towards these two gigantic conglomerations of pro wrestling because they have gigantic millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars of TV money now. It's not good for like the local fan that just wants to watch a show. It's not good for the wrestlers that can go somewhere and learn their craft, because it gets cut in half. You either I gotta pull the Pimp C. Either you classic Coke or you Pepsi. You can't. There is no room for RC anymore. There is no room for Dr. Pepper. It's bad. Like, these people have the pride of their craft, and all these places that train wrestlers, whatever else, have these connections, and they're funneling them towards where they're getting their checks from. That's not good. It's going to halt the development of pro wrestlers. It's going to halt the development of scenes popping up organically. Like, we don't want more mass manufactured.
I wouldn't have wanted Tony Khan to buy. I wouldn't have wanted Tony Khan to buy AAA either.
Right.
And I think the world's dumbest people have tried to compare this to ROH, which was a dead company with no wrestlers that literally only existed in trademarks and on paper. I think that's a little bit different situation. And to keep that history out of WWE, now WWE gets even more history. I think it's Rob Viper who is going to have to like take all his stuff down. I imagine off YouTube. There's a lot of people that watch that, vintage stuff. And now it's like, it's all going to be wrapped in, Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, and like whatever. But like, it's fine. But it's just going to be the most bare bones, basic. Right. We've said Roy Lewis here. Sorry, Brewhaven. Appreciate you correcting me. But Lucha Blog wrote a huge column about this. I recommend everybody check out like what the possibilities for this thing are. And some people are saying this is essentially like 1984 just in Mexico. Like it's
Battle of the Tate libraries. Gonna loot and plunder. I mean, that happened to the UK already.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, I saw this and I was shocked. And, they had all the guys standing in the back and everything like that. And it was just like, It just felt like a family cashing out. Kind of, and it's like, all right, I guess they want to do that with their company and all that, but I don't have to like it. So, it is what it is. So we will move on.
And Jamal Murray almost got into a fight.
Really?
Yeah. But anyway,
I don't like that for Murray.
Neither do I. And he started. It's his fault. If they had broken into a fight, it would have been his fault. He wrapped Norman Powell up while Norman Powell had the ball around the 3-point line and wouldn't let that man do anything, and then wrapped him up, and then Norman Powell was like, get off me. And then people ran in to stop him, and the ref got in between. Brother, that would not have gone well for Jamal Murray. Anyway, yeah, so
yeah,
it's I don't love it. I don't love it. I think I don't like the idea that they're signing marquee wrestlers that made their names in AAA, got to America, became stars in draws and markets in America, and then their first instinct once buying AAA is to immediately put them and package them and show them as part of the front-facing part of the history of AAA. And I don't like the part where like they just put any old Mexican. This AAA thing, especially the CMLL guys. Like, to have Andrade there is like, what the fuck?
To have the Garzas there, it's like, they're Puerto Rican.
Right.
I think. No.
They're from Monterey. They're from Monterey.
Yeah. There was somebody else from Puerto Rico that was up there.
And then they had, I was just like, again. It don't make, what is this? Like, it's like, nah, it's just like, yeah, it's a Mexican promotion, we'll pull out Mexico. Like, you don't understand, that was a turf war.
Yeah.
That'd be like if CMLL bought AEW and all of a sudden you put up Randy Orton out there. The fuck?
Yeah, they have, I was thinking about, the show Worlds Collide coming with NXT in LA, and you see it. They're not putting them with WWE,
right?
But it's with NXT. This is just some other shit, and it's their company. They own it.
Is going head to head with the developmental brand,
right? So this is just them shaking their
jobbed out.
Oh yeah. Like it's like I could have Psycho Clown
that's going to be winning on their show is going to be Penta and Phoenix.
Yeah, or Alberto El Patron. Whenever he comes back, get ready, get nasty. So, speaking of nasty,
you ready for that Hell Froze Over pick with him and Triple H? Ready for that? It's
gonna be funny. It's gonna be funny.
No, the better one would be like they did the one with CM Punk. The better one is if they showed Del Rio and Triple H together, and it's like Del Rio like touching Triple H's nose, like cutely. Remember, we call that man over not banana mode. That's what Jared called him. But he said somebody's nose. Yeah, it's gonna get people going about face this shit, talk cash shit, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we need you on the ground here. You're the only people we actually know. We didn't talk to people down there. When we bought this stuff, we just knew you were there. We know we can talk to you. We don't want to talk to them. We sending you to talk to them.
Amazing. So, speaking of nasty, WWE's PR week, WrestleMania week, it started. I told a friend in pro wrestling that works for AEW to get ready for an all-out assault of the PR this week, because they did it last year and they showed the blueprint with CM Punk when he did that interview with Ariel Helwani. That was the WrestleMania week strategy. Talk about AEW. They not only talked about AEW this week, they roped in just, political stuff, and I got it all written down here of everything they fucking did, and they made misstep after misstep after misstep. Some people have argued that these were not missteps. A lot of this was intentional, but regardless of what it is, we're gonna name all this shit anyway. So, and I'll tell you why. Brewhaven says the AEW stuff didn't seem to hit this year
because they was hitting themselves, dummies.
AEW did not sell it, and also, like James just said, like they were just fucking it up. People were saying we made the right decision not to preview Megamania. Yeah, I mean, we did preview it. I said it was going to be ass, and it was ass. So, we'll get there in a minute. But, so, let's recap. On WrestleMania week, the easiest PR week possible, WWE sent out Nick Khan to do an embarrassing interview with Bill Simmons, where he ended up calling the WWE the underdogs when he was asked about AEW, and spent most of his time talking about AEW, calling him the billionaire's kid and all this other shit, disrespectful shit to Tony, which him and Nick, they've got their own thing or whatever, which is fine, but they're clearly taking the playbook from how Vince only used to address Ted Turner and not Eric Bischoff. It's the same thing. They had Triple H do an interview full of softball questions with Peter Rosenberg, where he just complained about his people being critical of his booking, shit, and buried his own roster for being out of shape and basically not committed to the cause. And then he was praising Donald Trump in this thing. So that was a whole nother thing there.
Did he talk about how he was a heel?
Yes. Like, he thinks it's a fucking game out here.
Yeah, he's getting heat. Like, what?
So they do that, and then I wake up Wednesday morning, and Roman Reigns decides to be in the Vanity Fair magazine wearing all this stuff that is clearly not aimed at men, so I'm not going to judge him for this, but it looked ridiculous regardless. I
mean,
maybe
it wasn't. It was. I think it may have been aimed at some men.
Maybe. So this man, just coyly and slyly admits being a Trump supporter in the middle of this thing. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you why do this? Like, you're about to main event this show in a couple of days. Your fan base, your biggest, most hardcore fan base, and we're friends with one of them, right? Are black women who will ride or die for Roman Reigns in the time where niggas was kicking the shit out of him, that he deserved it. They was with him. And this whole thing with Reigns, and it was just like, bro, why would you do this? Like, I was fascinated when he did. Like, I was fascinated. He used all the code and everything. And then I thought about, I was like, Florida.
He think people don't know what that means when people say that shit.
I was like, Florida, football player, all these institutions, and then that same day, it was like some presentation, from some Samoan legacy, some foundation thing that literally went to the White House, and they gave Donald Trump a Ulafala. So whether it was related or not, it looked like it was all related. So it was just terrible timing. All the Roman Reigns fans had to fucking eat it, and I laughed my head off at all this shit. Like, just the gymnastics people were doing to try to defend this. And then some people said, fuck it, fuck them all together, which also, was on the other side of that.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine shooting yourself in the foot that much, because people would be like, well, what's the difference with, we know Triple H is a Trump supporter, Chris Jericho is a Trump supporter. It's like, it hits differently when we already know who you are, right? we already know who you are. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I get that. That's your Steve. But when we first find out,
there's also other layers to it. It's like he's the guy with leukemia who like was literally wore a mask and crowd inside of like when he went to have matches that went like into the crowd during the pandemic stuff. He was the guy that got away that didn't show up during the pandemic, right? All this stuff that seemed that like he like leaned a certain way that fit with like, for example, his family, and then or like his nuclear family, and then ultimately like he's undoing all that, and it's like, oh man, and also it's like the whole like he wants to dabble in Hollywood, he wants to go the Rock John Cena route. None of this stuff is conducive towards him saying any of this stuff is conducive towards doing any. Like he's completely hustling backwards. For like it's your most hardcore fan base, and it's your future trajectory of what you want to do after the pro wrestling stuff. After you done throwing your head around at the ground for play, it's like, what are you doing? Yeah, it's just a massive misplay. It's just wow. And it's like, all right, man. All right. Just remember, like all the jokes we've heard about Samoans and this and the third is like, all right, okay, y'all say all this about X, Y, and Z. All right, well they showed you. They showed you.
No, they showed allegedly this was a black man. This is how he was treated.
Yep, they were saying all that stuff. Like black, there were, a lot of his biggest supporters that were black were like, he's getting mistreated because of racism and all this kind of stuff. And they, these white crowds ain't taking to him just because he's a person of color. And it's like, maybe, look, I'm sure there is some truth to that, or was some truth to that at the time. I also want to point out, he don't give a fuck about y'all. And y'all thought he did. And y'all thought that his wife or the lady in his life that he had them kids with, you thought he cared about y'all. We were wrong.
He cares about her.
And when it gets to these relationships and stuff, and people always be like, hey man, just because they fucking somebody that look like y'all don't mean they give a fuck about y'all. It's always, you don't know that. You're just assuming that. And there you go. Another example.
An $850 belt celebrating the career Triple H was put on sale. Some people calling it the Third Reich Tribute Replica belt.
Is it an Iron Cross on the belt?
There are several Iron Crosses on the belt.
Multiple. Damn.
And this, like, coupled with the fact that Triple H went 67 minutes at the Hall of Fame speech. Like, I wrote a tweet, and I was like, man, Marilyn Manson at least had the dignity to get his ribs removed before he sucked his own dick. Like, it was just like the amount of just self-fellatio for Paul Levesque this week was just, it was really incredible. Combining that with WrestleMania and then the big timing near Bret Hart and Austin with not playing their music and playing his and coming out multiple times at WrestleMania. And it's just like, you want all this credit, huh? But you're scrambling, at other times, which we'll get to later. The Street Profits. Man, I felt bad for these guys. They got sent to Cameron and Mace. They got sent on the shitless
podcasting circuit.
They got sent out there on a suicide mission. Clearly not researched of who Cameron is and how much he does not give a fuck.
Yep.
It's like we've seen Cameron get Bill O'Reilly shook up on national television before. Like a man who was on television his entire life being an asshole to people, whatever.
Right.
So they send the Street Profits to promote WrestleMania SmackDown in WrestleMania. They're on the Friday show. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're not on the Saturday show. Mm-hmm. Eventually, Cameron, under the guise of being Macho Man Randy Savage or whatever, basically asked them, why are y'all not on WrestleMania? Y'all the Street Profits, what street? And then from there, like, the Street Profits have to go into gimmick to try to, like, save this and get it back on the road.
So what did they do, Rich?
I'll tell you in a second. Cam's like, ain't nobody in the WWE better than everybody in the WWF, the British Bulldogs, the Hart Foundation, Demolition, and then they started nigging it up after that. They was just like, we better than all that. And then they basically go into the promo voices and all that shit, trying to just keep it in gear somewhat. And then Angelo Dawkins is just like a guy I've talked to in real life before. Cool guy, nice guy. He's just like, I'm gonna keep it a stack. Which he just cracked flats and miss it. I don't want to be on the bench. And this is like right after Nick Khan was saying we don't bench people to Bill Simmons. Nick Khan had a fucking lie-a-thon on Bill Simmons shit. I think anytime that he goes on Bill Simmons from now on, we need to make that a part of our listening for that week, because he's going to go insane with the lies. But Dawkins basically says, yeah, man, I would be, I obviously I want to be in, but, we got to play our role. We on the bench or whatever, but, Friday we gonna defend the titles and we gonna hold it down, whatever. Like, he tries to spin it, but like they clearly sent them to this outlet because they were black. We know that. And then why weren't they on the show? I'm not gonna say it, but I could have probably used them on night one for sure. Looking at what was on night one.
Could have used a party match on night one.
Just saying. So there was that. I saw that and I was just, this is secondhand embarrassment. And once they had to like explain what their gimmick is, like, we prophets of the street, and it was like, a white man came up with this.
It was like, hey, I got you. What street you from? And he's like, and then they basically did the whole WWE, like, this is, to a normal person, if you explain this, they'd be like, this is nonsense. So they have to say it's a mentality, right? So it's like, yeah, it's a grind. It's a mentality. I was like, all right, bro. All right. Get out of here. Get it out of here. Like, it just don't... when you have these people have to, like, keep up kayfabe or keep up what they're doing in front of, like, people that don't give a fuck about that, it makes them look silly as hell. And it's not back in the day where you can have people who just slap people to be like, whatever. Like, no. Can't do that no more. So you just sound silly. You look ridiculous.
What street? That is an all-timer.
Yeah.
Then it was revealed by Brandon Thurston that Vince McMahon still owns tons of TKO stock, maybe like around $8 billion of TKO stock or whatever. They say he's not linked to the day-to-day operations of the company. But who am I to trust these liars? Why would I believe them? He's still benefiting off of all this shit. So, what are we doing? The big secret, the bad man is gone, but the bad man's still getting paid off all this. The bad man's still ranking it in,
Yeah.
And this is not directly related to WWE, but since she was on LFG, Mickie James, oh my God, was wrestling Aki Ito at the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Show, and apparently has gotten so blown up in the beginning of it, he decides she's going to grab the mic and say just something absolutely ridiculous. Like, she just an all-time crash out where she's like, all the boys and girls are in the back, trying to get their 5-star notice for Meltzer or whatever. And you audibly hear somebody say, "What's that?" like in the crowd. It's amazing. And then she was like, he ain't never put me over. He ain't gonna push you over. Because I don't wrestle, I entertain. And she does this pose with it. She does this pose with it. I watched the video like 10 times in a row. This is what, like, when I hear these like wrestlers, right? Like these vets and legends, quote unquote legends, like stuff like this proves why they command no respect. None. Like she stopped her pro wrestling match to yell at Dave Meltzer in the middle of it, right?
Yeah.
This is everything. Like, when people talk about exposing the business, this is fake shitting on the business. This is all of it right here. The vets that y'all love, the people that you have these memories for, they don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Like, there is no business. It's getting money.
There's also this part, right? Normally, when I'm blown up, I don't grab a mic and start talking. It hurts me getting my win back. It's like, what are we doing? For who? For what? You trying to buy time?
There was like, and I maybe like that's everything I had written down, but all these things kept hitting just a couple hours after. It would just be one more look for WWE, and on top of all this, it was like the overhang of like, oh my God, are they going to have Donald Trump show up to WrestleMania? Now that didn't end up happening, but it hung with them. This felt like their marketing scheme for the week to try to get some attention on themselves because the storylines weren't going to do it. There was no real exciting energy around this because everything's weird because it's on Easter. It's already a week later. It felt weird watching WrestleMania.
It's on Easter and it's the same weekend as NBA playoffs starting.
Yeah. So it says she stopped to do a singing battle with Maki. It seemed like a planned thing at a time. So I don't doubt that as far as a singing battle, but what did Dave Meltzer have to do with that?
Right.
So it's like Triple H, 67 minutes, mentions Vince in the speech, crowd pops, cheers. Get ready. It's going to happen one day. And everything around this is just like, I can't believe this company is like, this was reverse Legento activity all week. We need to demote Legento back to running this shit, like to keep this, like, and this is a hard pivot, right? A lot of people were saying, for that, and it may be right, but still, why take the focus off of the wrestling? I don't know. I guess they feel like they can't market to the public in a general way, so they just use the most controversial figure to try to tie themselves next to it.
I don't know, man. It's all just so dumb this week. All so dumb this week. Like, it's supposed to be a celebration and excitement for all the stuff, and like the things they did were just like nothing but distractions away from that shit. And it was like, is Kanye in charge of their marketing? It was just crash out publicity. Like, I don't think it helped them. I don't think any of this generated them the buzz they wanted or thought they could get from it. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah, CM Punk had an interview as well where he
basically he basically is like, I still work with fucking children. To this day, I still work with children. I'm just at a different place, but I still work with children.
Yeah, he basically told people like, that meme like where people say, society is messed up, but yet you participate in society. Like he did one of those, like where he's like, well, y'all using Twitter.
I was talking about the part where he's talking about like, the political views, whatever else. He just like, keep that kind of like. He's like, I kind of keep some of that shit to myself, whatever. But yeah, he did mention the part about like, what do you want me to do about it? I was like, I mean, all right, buddy. I guess you're picking and choosing again.
Countdown.
I guess you don't want to take a stand no more.
Yeah, he's on a different kind of countdown, and I think everybody knows what it is. Saudi Mania, or Saudi Royal Rumble.
Greatest Royal Rumble.
They gonna get you, Phil. They gonna get you, Phil. They gonna get you. You remember what that KRS One song, "Love's Gonna Get You"? Oh yeah, they gonna get you.
All right, time to get to the shitty show.
Let's get to it, man. So, I mean, which one? Like it? Just saying. But yeah, man, WrestleMania 41 overall, a show that looked and played out in the ways that a lot of us expected that watched this. We were like, where are the good storylines? Where are the big matches that are going to deliver? Why are there so many multi-man matches? Why does everything feel so kind of cold this year? Braun Breaker just joined Heyman and Rollins. They're on the air still? What the fuck? Like, they do a 4-hour Raw or some shit? I think that this show like came out here. We'll start with day one, and it was just like, this was an awful show up and down. Main event, I think, saved it a little bit in people's eyes, but man, you start looking at these scores, and just kind of what I thought of the matches. Night one,
I thought higher of the matches in general than you did, but like, here's the thing: I'm watching these shows without the on fast forward. Like I'm starting these shows late and I'm skipping through these 18, 15, 16 minutes of time between matches. Like I am watching, video packages, entrances, and matches, and I'm skipping through everything else. Hall of Fame inductions, don't care. Backstage stuff, didn't see it, missed it. Like commentary talking about whatever fundraiser stuff they're doing in the community while they're in Las Vegas, don't give a fuck. I'm skipping through it. So my experience is more positive and better than yours because I'm not sitting through 18 minutes of dead space. So yeah,
I wanted to watch it as how they intend to present it. So like there was just so much.
You're doing it the fair way and a fair evaluation way. I'm doing it for the sake of my fucking sanity. So
yeah, like they there's so much downtime, and there's that account that I don't know exactly the name of it, but they track the time and they just show the progression like over how it used to be like 10 years ago.
Dead time.
Yeah. So we started with Jey Uso versus Gunther. Jey Uso looks like he did not have a lot of energy. I thought this was going to be Yeetamania, James, and it was just kind of there for me. I think Gunther tried to Uso-proof this, but this did not go over great.
The story of the match was that Jey Uso beat Gunther by basically taking Gunther's playlist of moves, which is stiff shots, clothesline. I think there was a power bomb. Like the basic, almost like young lion offense that Gunther wrestles with. He basically used it against Gunther, and then he won with the rear naked choke. I mean,
I didn't like the way he set a lot of the
I thought it was
up.
fine. The problem is, I thought the wrestling was very pedestrian for an opener for the biggest wrestling show of the year.
I thought Jey Uso had no fire. I thought he had no way to really engage with the audience. I would have thought, when he was doing the 3 splash thing, at some point on the top rope, he would have tried to do he was doing the yeet stuff on the top rope or firing up or something between the splashes, because you could see he was going to do at least 3 of them after that first one, whatever, when he didn't pin him. And I was just like, this just feels so undercooked. And it was just like, wow, their champion's really about to be Jey Uso going forward. I saw a lot of people, upset about what they did to Gunther and all this stuff. I'm like, the nigga never loses. So he'll be fine.
They'll dust him off. Yeah. He'll move on. He'll be protected. He won't lose again for another year. It'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Look, this wouldn't happen to my company. I thought this wasn't really great. 2.5.
I gave it 2 3/4.
So, World Tag Team Title match. Also, Jimmy comes out to celebrate with Jay. They try to have this nice moment, but it just wasn't. Something wasn't right.
Why, Rich? You want to know why?
Wasn't right.
You want to know why? Because he's coming down to the ring doing a 6-minute entrance with his music playing, where on the back of his shirt, or the back of his haberdashery, it says main event in the fucking opener. It's nonsense. Everything about this is nonsense and fake. I'm not saying his popularity is not warranted. I'm not saying he's not super charismatic. I'm not saying he shouldn't be the champion. I'm saying when you have this situation where he's absolutely not a main event wrestler in quality in the ring, and then you put him in there against one of the best wrestlers in the world when he's given the green light to do his thing, and then they go out there and it should be a slam dunk easy match where he overcomes all this stuff and wins, and then the match is less than even the most simple, basic, fucking fundamental story of pro wrestling. You're going to come back feeling like it's underwhelming because it was. And then it's the opener, and it's a nigga named Jey Uso. And he's proving to you that he's worthy of the main event in the opener. It makes no fucking sense. It's nonsense.
Yeah. And Gunther's streak of having the best match at WrestleMania is over now. So
tatters.
Yeah. World Tag Team title match, the New Day versus the War Raiders. When you talk about just the most Monday Night Raw of matches possible,
a good tag match that no one gave a flying fuck about.
And they had no reason to. That New Day heel turn, this is the culmination of it. Them winning the tag titles for the 12th time. What are they going to do with them? Who gives
Is it actually 12?
Yes. That's what they said. It's
Wow.
the 12th time or whatever, and they haven't won them in 4 years or whatever. But they did this huge turn and all this, and I knew the New Day was cooked when, like, the week after that whole thing, they were doing this thing where they, quote unquote, wouldn't let them in the building, and they were doing the boo MP3 thing and wouldn't let them talk. I'm like, oh, they don't actually have any ideas for them. They could have used them as singles wrestlers. They could have made them a part of something important. Nope, it's just the New Day as we always knew them, but a lot less fan friendly. And now it's like, we've seen it. Like, it's stale. Like, even though they've turned, it's like they've been around forever. This is they've just been out in the sun too long. It's like the Street Profits are not getting on the show, and the New Day are. This just feels like seniority right there. And I hate to compare them just because they're the black guys and everything like that, but like DIY didn't get on this show. Motor City Machine Guns, and it's like, Kofi and Woods, they earned their spots or whatever. I'm not saying that, but it's just like, it seems like these were
they have no new interesting ideas to do with the part where, like, they, like, people like Randy Orton, the old money acts that are sticking around longer and longer and longer because medicine and the advancement of health and fitness have made these guys where they can continue to make big money, and good for them. The problem is you are not you have no more stories to tell that are compelling, and if you do, they're few and far between. But is WrestleMania, so we got to trot your ass out there. What do you got?
Nobody
nothing
give
really.
A fuck about this match.
Nothing really. All right. Well, we got to send you out there because you're still the fucking New Day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. Like, you're still the New Day. You still sell a bunch of merchandise, heel or babyface, whatever else. People still recognize you or whatever else. You still command respect from the audience because you've been around. You've been a hot act for a decade. But what is there for you to do, really? Nothing? Yeah. Yeah. That is the problem of the advancements of technology, medicine, and health and fitness. We got these guys that otherwise would have been out of here by now. Like, I saw someone make an example, talk about how, I forgot who it was, somebody being around for The Shield. The Shield have been broken up,
for over 10 years.
Over 10 years. Like, they've been broken up longer than, like, they're like the main event, right? Given what happened, it's still doing, Shield lore or whatever else. And it's like, someone pointed out, like, bruh, the Shield have been broken up longer than it was from, like, when Bachman lost to the Iron Sheik to when he beat Brett for the belt. At this point.
That's crazy.
But we're still going back to Shield lore and main events of Night One's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Paul. A Cargill and Naomi. I thought this was not going to be good at all. I thought this overachieved.
I like this match.
They kind of like almost like allowed Jade to do all the power stuff. Naomi was there to eventually like put her over, and it was like, oh, okay, like it was inoffensive, I'd say. And I thought that, both of them, used their minutes well, and it was a big opportunity for them. So I don't want to take anything away from it there. But it still kind of leaves me like with questions for Jade, because it seems like so much went into this match to make it go off the way it did. Mm-hmm. I don't see her as a every week wrestler. Like, I don't see her as someone that's just going to be working matches or whatever, just with different people on the roster that is ready to go, even at this stage still.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. That being said,
a lot of cool moves, though.
When you look like Jade Cargill,
you're always going to get another chance.
You don't necessarily need to be on TV every single week. You are an attraction. Because you are attractive. So yeah, like, you don't necessarily need all that. But yeah, man, I thought this was a success. I really enjoyed this match. I really enjoyed what Jay was wearing. And yeah, man, I thought Naomi did a great job in like helping take all these crazy bumps for her. I thought the finish, that electric chair pop up, powerbomb was awesome. And yeah, man, I thought this was an absolute success. Absolute success. Like, I remember telling you, I think at the time, I was like, I get it, shit. I get it. It's 3 stars. And that might be based on low expectation, but based on low expectation, I was not expecting this match to be this good. I was not. I was pleasantly surprised by this one. This is one of the few pleasant surprises of WrestleMania weekend on the shows, but yeah.
Then we ended up getting the U.S. title match, Jacob Fatu against LA Knight. And if there's one thing that's going to happen, LA Knight going to try to make it happen. He's going to try to make something shake. Yeah. So, Jacob Fatu ended up winning. There were a couple cool reversals and all that. And this kind of seems like they're finally doing something with Jacob Fatu. I feel like they've had the brakes on this guy forever. He could have already, he should have been wrestling Roman this year.
They have finally come around to be like, hey man, enough of the Social Suplex shit. We're going to invest in Jacob Fatu and we're going to go slowly with it and we'll see where he ends up as far as, if he has potential to be move towards top of the card, but he clearly has a fire, a charisma, and a connection with the crowd. So yeah, good with it. Liked the match. Thought it was pretty good. I wouldn't say it was very good, but thought it was pretty good. Enjoyed it. And LA Knight, you put him on a big show, he delivers. Like he's one of the guys that I'd be like, hey, when I watch WWE at this point, I'm here to see certain people, to see that they're my heroes, legends that I watch, and I was like, are they still great? Can they still go? Can they still hold at the level? And then there are people that's like, look, they are high floor. They're always going to give you a certain level of quality. And if it goes off the rails, it's been a disaster. Like if you get a bad Seth Rollins match on pay-per-view, they are fucking up tremendously. Like if you get a bad Drew McIntyre match on pay-per-view, they are fucking up tremendously. So like there are certain people you can expect. And I think that we're at the point now where like, well, LA Knight, there is a certain level of trust, at least on these big shows, on these A tier pay-per-views, that you're going to get something fun out of him. Like you're going to get something fun and hard fought and a lot of effort put into it. So yeah, I think I'm ready to put him into that category. Not at the same exact level as that, but I'm saying that same category of like you expect someone if he's going to be on the card.
He reminds me of like this generation's DDP. Like late bloomer, late bloomer tries the fuck out of whatever
tries really hard, willing. Yep.
Yeah. Give a gab, all that shit. So, but Jacob wins the belt, and we'll see what he does with it. But like there is still this like from the show, we haven't really talked about the tone of the whole show. The crowd's watching a lot of this stuff. Mm-hmm. They're just like. They're hanging out. Like Fatu and LA Knight got them going a little bit. There were a couple pops during Jade and Naomi, but they're just staring at this shit. It's just this is a Monday. This is a SmackDown in a stadium at this point.
And I think a lot of it comes down to with all this downtime. People don't know when to pick and choose, when to go to concessions, when to go to the bathroom, when to come back, and all that kind of stuff. And want to get up and stretch and all that kind of stuff. So it leads to people have to pick and choose, and then the match starting, and it's if you're not, one of the things they actually gave him some care to, you SOL unless you out here, going nuts. And I think the next match is going to be another example of that.
Next match, El Grande Americano faces Rey Fenix, who gets his WrestleMania debut probably quicker than anybody that has not expected? Been I don't know. Yeah, reasonably expected. Rey Mysterio ended up with a groin injury or whatever, so he had to get pulled from this match. They sub Rey in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So they did this.
This is a new thing now. Now just 2 years in a row where it's like, okay, we had Dragon Lee, and then we going, then it's Andrade. Now this
that one was a work. Yeah.
Now it's Phoenix. Like what's next year? What are we doing?
They will have plenty to choose from. It will be Vikingo substituting next year. So, I saw this. I saw the Mexico filter put over it. I saw the El Grande Americano stuff.
The yellow filter.
Yellow. I was like, I just hated it. They're both wearing red or whatever in there. I thought that was kind of funny. I did not love this. Of course, I don't like the fact Rey Fenix lost. Yeah. But, that's a lot in life now.
The wrestling was very good.
I didn't think... I thought there was something also just not there with it. Like, it just didn't. They only got 8 minutes. Also here, these two could have probably torn the house down if it was, regular means, but I just wasn't feeling it.
I think there.
I think Gable did a really incredible move with that moonsault back press or whatever.
The 450 moonsault? Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was incredible. And he kind of looked better than Phoenix at certain points, but I don't
know how you do that and trust that you're not going to knock yourself out on the canvas.
It looked like he did. It looked like he got the back of the head.
He planked. Yeah, you're right. It did look like he planked. But I'm saying, like, I don't know how you be like, yeah, I'm going to do this and not think I might knock myself out. That's what I'm saying. I don't even try.
That Jadakiss. Knock yourself out. Jadakiss.
Exactly.
I didn't love this. And I thought, like, when I was shocked, or I don't want to say I was shocked. I was just kind of sitting there. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, when he pinned Phoenix, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
We definitely saw the best of Phoenix. I don't think we're ever going to see this, the top level again. So,
yeah. I think it's very bottom of the barrel lazy. Like, this is something that MJF can't wait to do.
Yeah. And at this point, it was like, does this really feel like WrestleMania? Is Triple H, these storylines that he's like crafted, is this WrestleMania worthy? Is this big show stadium status worthy? And it's like, this is not. Then we get to the women's title match with Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, a match that gave us the answers to a lot of questions I think that we had. Tiffany Stratton defeats Charlotte. Both gears looked expensive. I liked Charlotte's gear, probably some of the best that she's ever had. Tiffany's, I liked hers as well, liked her entrance too. But I found out a couple things in this match. One, I found out why Charlotte was acting up in the build. Because she probably got told she wasn't going over and was like, I'm leaving here with something.
Yep.
Yep. And then Charlotte
on the mic and in the ring. I'll leave you with something.
Yeah, Charlotte beat the shit out of her. And Tiffany was not equipped to fight back in not only outside the ring in these promos until somebody, I like to think there was somebody that pulled her aside backstage and was like, and gave her the Michael Irvin speech. You gonna let her keep doing this to you? What are you gonna do about it? And that's why she bucked up at the end with that promo and all that. But she was not equipped to fight Charlotte back in the ring. It was like she's never been a real fighter or something like that. And Charlotte, obviously the veteran, she was gonna be the person that's calling this match. It was like she wanted to bring something out of Tiffany that either wasn't there or hasn't developed yet, or is a function of that school, the PC, which would not teach her, those things. So like, I thought this got very sloppy in parts. There were compelling parts of the match, but like it would go back and forth to like
vacillated,
hitting on something, and then it was like, nope. It just falls. Like they were trying to get to that Charlotte and Rhea Ripley level, but the thing is, Charlotte knows that Rhea will probably beat the shit out of her. Like, I think that like with Tiffany, it's like Tiffany don't want the smoke like that. Like as far as like the physicality like that.
So, I'm with you as far as like it vacillated greatly between good and at times just like they had the match and then they lost it 3 different times. They had the crowd in their hands. They lost it with their poor execution, poor chemistry, wonkiness, clunkiness, whatever you want to call it, botching it up stuff 3 different times. And the part that was really frustrating was that by the time they got to the part where Charlotte starts selling her knee, and it turns into a game of desperation where they're both working over their legs at different points, and Charlotte's selling her knee like a champ. Just great. That was the part that got me after the 2 different times they stumbled. And then they're off to the races. They got to their closing stretch. And then they started mucking up their closing stretch. I was like, God damn it. That was the time where I was like, you got it? Oh no, it's going bad. Yes, no. And then by the time they got to close the stretch and they start fucking up, I was like, that's when I just pulled out the match and got frustrated. It was like, damn it, you had it. And if you had just got it together for the closing stretch, we could have been like, hey, it got clunky, whatever else we gave you, but by the time we got to the end of it, with the selling of Charlotte's knee and all that kind of stuff, you had your story, you had the compelling stuff, you had the crowd, and it worked. And then they killed it in close stretch, or in a bad way, and it didn't work. I was frustrated, because like watching them together is like, if the layout is there, the layout was absolutely there for them to go out there and have a classic Charlotte a classic WrestleMania Charlotte match, singles match, and they just didn't get pulled off because they fucked him in 3 different spots. And it was frustrating because, you know, me and you, while we give Charlotte the blues on here, me and you both like her because we liked her since the first time we saw her over a decade ago when she was having those matches in NXT. And we were both like, hey man, she might be special. And she has had some special matches over her career. And the thing that's frustrating about her now is she does not have good matches anymore when the lights aren't bright. But when the lights are bright, she'll go out there and have a match like she had WrestleMania last year. And it makes it frustrating because, like, you basically a part-timer now. You basically a part-timer, not through health or whatever other reason. You just in and out. But when it's time for a big spot, you command the spot and then you pay it off with a big match. And then this time it's like the match fell apart, so you can't even justify that shit no more. So where are we? Do we give you another shot? And then if you don't do this, then we need to reevaluate what you doing with your career?
I think she's got to look in the mirror because I think obviously she's going through a lot of stuff like, outside the ring and coming back, with that, and she's looking around.
That's true.
Yeah. And she's looking around like, and everything is changing around her. Like they're bringing in, the new chicks all the time. Like, even on commentary, they were trying to attribute a move that she was doing like 10 years ago to Stephanie Vicaire.
Right.
And it's
I mentioned that to you. It's like, they totally forgot that like Charlotte popularized that in 2014. Yeah.
So like, it just feels like, we're talking about people being of another era. Like, Charlotte's slowly approaching that. They clearly wanted to have Tiffany, go over her. Yep. This looks like this was kind of designed as some passing the torch shit, but like, nah,
she ain't passing it.
Like, she's not passing it. You got to rip that from her.
No,
and I don't know if Tiffany necessarily is.
She's never passing the torch over. You like it. The story. Look. The people, the producers of the show wanted to be that. She's never given her that, right? She would rather walk out that bitch and without putting her over like she's Muto with Kaito Kiyomiya. You get what I'm saying?
I'll give her credit for this. Like she took the pin or whatever and the 1, 2, 3 and all that, and it wasn't no bullshit. But I imagine it. Someone had to have a talk with her to ensure that happened. Like, I don't know anything or whatever, but I feel like conversations were had throughout this program to ensure that it got in the ring. It's been
a lot of frustrating stuff with her over the last few years. A lot of when she's been on TV, a lot of frustrating things. Yeah, man. And, you mentioned that stuff about like, different generations, whatever else. Meanwhile, the next night, that whole new generation that came right after her, they went out there and said, we finna wipe our asses with one of those, what your first WrestleMania match you ever had. That 3-way with Becky and Sasha, they wiped their asses with that one.
Yeah.
And remember, she should be having matches with those 3. But at least 2 of them do not want to have a feud with her ever again after what happened in 2020.
So, Tiffany Stratton, as far as her, I feel like the jury is still out on her. This was a perfect opportunity to have your star making match. They could have easily had the match of the night, I feel like. But
yeah,
she didn't come through, and I think a lot of people wanted her
there for the taking. This is what I'll say. I'm willing to not write her off because I'm willing to wait to see what she does versus somebody of that caliber on that roster. With respect on the main roster, that ain't Charlotte Flair. I want to see it versus Becky Lynch or Bianca or Io or Rhea. I'm willing to wait on those.
Yeah. Like I don't like she's not in the Liv category for me.
Oh,
like,
she's way better than Liv. Yeah, she's way better than Liv. Just physically, just athletically. Yeah.
Then we got the main event of night 1 with Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns, and I feel like this was an easily predictable match. Like as far as what was going to happen, I kind of actually predicted in the group chat earlier in the day that Seth Rollins would him would turn on both for Seth Rollins because at the end of the day, Roman was going home. Punk has beat Rollins pretty much, and everyone has beat Rollins over the past couple years. It was like you almost got to give him something. And I didn't know they
or tell him to start breaking down the ring.
Yeah, that too. So, so they have this match. I love that breaking down the ring shit,
bro. I don't know who came up. I don't know who memed that shit, or captioned that shit in that picture of him and Vince together. But that shit was all time great. If you could break down the ring for us, that'd be like, bro, what? Oh man.
So I thought this was a big dumb stupid match, like a big dumb WWE match where there's all the tropes, the crowd brawling, the go through the table, the pair offs in a 3-way match. It wasn't like necessarily bad work or anything. It was a little bit engaging, I'd say. Nothing like super like this was not like what we ended up seeing the next night or anything like that. But like for me, I start about like halfway through, I just start thinking, I'm like, I don't buy any of these near falls.
Right.
Like I don't buy any of them.
There won't be a near fall until there's some melodramatic thing that happens. Right.
Yep. I was like, until Paul Heyman gets on camera, I'm not moved yet. Then he brought his fat body on camera, like Bray Wyatt that one time.
Hold on. Now they showed him at different points, and like I noticed, Rich. Did you notice the tan he had?
No, I didn't.
I noticed the tan he had.
I was too too much area. I was kind of too fascinated with.
So when they were showing him, when they showed that tan he had, I was like, oh, he's definitely getting involved in the finish of this shit. That was exactly what I thought. I was like, you see that tan? That man ready to go over, brother.
Something I did miss. They gave CM Punk a cool entrance using this fire burns. I thought he should have came out and did this fire burns. I would have thought that would have been cool.
Now, wasn't his gear basically like the Money in the Bank 2011 gear? Am I wrong on that? With the yellow.
Yeah, it was the Chicago flag with Money in the Bank, but that's like gear that he's worn the yellow base one, but I've never seen it with the yellow and white kind of joint. So it was something a little new.
So yeah, when they played when I heard the piano in the background, I was like, why does that sound familiar? And then they played this Fire Burns, like, oh, that's what that was. I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is like harking back to Summer of Punk, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, God damn, he's still so fucking good at this with the video package and stuff and everything. He's an asshole, but he's still good at this, man. He really is. But yeah, man, I like this match more. I thought this was a really good match until they got to the melodrama bullshit, honestly. And then it was like your mileage varies on this. For me, it was like knowing where it was going 100, 2 steps ahead. I was like, when they were all right, man. All right, let's talk about it. I know we don't talk about wrestlers' appearances on this thing in that kind of way. All right, so when Roman showed back up post the pandemic, he had veneers.
Yeah.
Why does it feel like he has a new set of veneers? Like this is not he's now on his second set of veneers.
He got to show them things. Like if you're gonna spin, you got to show him.
Look, man, the problem is that he showed him. The problem is that like you can see him from outer space. If you turn the lights off and you put on the black light, that nigga will blind you from some glow in the dark type shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing. They look like they are. His teeth are so white that they don't look like veneers. They look like dentures.
You saying Roman Reigns' teeth so white they're trying to bring back segregation?
Perhaps. Look, man. Oh my God, Keynor said he brushing good. God damn it.
Roman Reigns' teeth so white they're trying to redraw district lines.
Ain't enough peroxide in the world. Look, man. Okay, I'm moving on. I'm moving on.
Someone said, "Where were Roman's teeth on January 6th?" Fuck that. Where was Roman January 6th? Like,
hey man,
but
hey man, those ain't enamel. What the fuck you done to that? But anyway, yeah, man. There was a part where when it came down to it, right? And after they did the whole super indie spot where they all three of them hit their finishers in succession, and Seth no sold the GTS to hit the curve stop on Punk. Heyman gets the chair, and Punk and Roman are both by ringside, are both by where Heyman's getting up on the apron, and Roman they're both like, who you gonna choose? Who you gonna choose? And I was like, once again, Paul Heyman has managed to make Roman Reigns in a main event match in a big spot, like it be about like who it's all about who will Heyman choose. They did it with Brock Lesnar. Now they're doing it with Punk. And then he chooses CM Punk. And then Roman looks like he's about to start crying. But the thing is, his teeth are so ridiculous that I can't tell if he's crying or if he's smiling. Can't tell.
they will not be calling you in Hollywood, Roman.
Then it's obvious what's going to happen. Like, oh, here comes a low blow to CM Punk. Low blow CM Punk. Roman. I can't hear you. I still can't hear you.
It was so obvious what was about to happen.
Yes. So, obvious about to happen. He's so close. Low blows Punk. Roman, he starts crying because, the wise man has chosen me yet again. But again, I can't tell if he's smiling or if he's hallucinating or whatever else, because his teeth are hurting his ability to emote. It's distracting. So then he gets a chair, and I'm like, oh, hey, from the low blow him too. Sure enough, low blows him. Rollins gets a chair.
Both wrestlers incredibly dumb.
Yes. He recreates the screwing him again. More Shield lore. I think he hits
he gives him a low blow, and then he leaves it in there for a little bit, and goes back and forth, and his hands get stuck in there. It's like he's trying to pull.
All right. All right. Thanks for the commentary on the low blow. Rollins hits him with a chair. Shield break up all over again. I think Curve Swanson gets the win. Yeah, man, and now we'll see whatever fallout of this is. Obviously, I'm assuming it's like, hey, man, Rollins, the last 5 years, we have beaten you like a Cherokee drum against anybody we wanted to push up to the top of the card in WWE over the years, and now it's time for us to try to heat you up as a heel or whatever else. Because what else is there to do with you? Can't be a babyface. We ruined that in 2019. So we're gonna try to get the top heel. We're gonna have Punk chase after you. We're gonna have Roman chase after you, and we'll give you somebody that can do the talking for you, so you don't have to. I don't hate it.
Yeah,
I think as far as a chess move, moving parts around on the board, I actually like this a lot.
So it apparently they've put Braun Breaker in Seth Rollins' new group, so that seems like that's that'll explode Batista, at some point or whatever.
Batista, yep. Triple H.
Yep. Like that'll explode at some point, but
yep. I like that too.
I question putting this much into Seth Rollins. Like you mentioned, they beat him like a drum. I think his credibility has kind of been so shot. I feel like he needs a drastic change. Like all the goofy shit needs to go. He needs to kind of become
but he's a
more
heel.
Serious.
Who gives a shit? He can be ridiculous as a heel.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm sure their logic is, well, that's the heat.
Yeah. Like
he dresses like an asshole.
I just think that the fact that it has never worked with Seth Rollins, like as far as like the numbers always go down anytime they try to push him, like interest wanes, and then like it just doesn't. Like he's the guy that you feed the guys you actually want to do something with to have decent matches. As far as pushing him on top, I don't know, but they've got a group, they've got some kind of idea with it. So we'll see how it plays out. I think
they trust that Heyman will be the person that will be able to fix that issue with Rollins. We're not going to put it on Rollins to do the talking. We'll put it on Heyman. And Heyman will come up with a storyline or whatever else to where he'll, not necessarily bloodline-ish, but be like, we'll give them the intrigue to where like the group will be entertaining, and we'll use Seth as the front man so we can get Braun Breaker, where we want him eventually in a year or 18
Breaker's a Heyman guy. As always, Paul Heyman is the bad bitch of this promotion. Like, he's always on top. The faces come and go. Like, that man is Morris Levy. Like,
Yep.
Let's go to as far as like I said, this was a bad show. Like,
and then we get to night 2.
Yeah, we get to night 2, and night 2 opens on a fucking heater.
Yes, it does.
It's with it was almost like there was also, I mentioned the Triple H big time and thing. There's something else that happened on night 2, which we'll talk about when the time comes as well.
Okay.
But we opened up 3-way match with Io, Bianca, and Rhea Ripley, and this was a laser light show.
This was fucking awesome.
They had 15 minutes, and they said, we're going to do every fucking thing we can possible between us. And we're gonna, we're gonna really actually be athletic. We're gonna just steal the weekend at WrestleMania, pretty much.
Man, this is for me. This is one of the best matches in the history of WrestleMania. This for me is an easy 4.5. Easy.
That's where I was on it.
They did so much incredible athletic shit that for those that are, into watching, Joshi around the world, into watching AEW, into watching the women in CMLL, whatever else, and the Grand Prix that they do.
You know what? I'm going 4 3/4 on this.
I said 4.5, easy 4. Look, I thought about giving 4 3/4, but it just went short. But I ain't mad at you. I'm mad at you. I love this fucking match. To see those 3 athletes do that, I don't think there's another promotion in the world that has 3 athletes quite like that have all that kind of stuff that brings to the table, with Rhea's strength in her coordination in her ability to base, with Bianca's all over, or all aroundness. Like, like, it's funny that she has a CrossFit background because it's about peak, overall fitness or whatever else, be able to fill all the holes. She, as an athlete in the ring, she do everything well. She's strong as fuck. She can base. She can flip, fly. She's overall all over. She's 5-tool player or whatever. That effective. And then with Io's ability to be the fire in that situation, that match.
She's a laser.
This was perfect. These three need to be wrestling each other in some variation on WrestleMania for the next decade, in some combination with each other.
Yeah.
I think Io has from last year with the match with Bayley, I think that she has built a credibility with the crowd that was earned on that match with her carrying Bayley, to where now is like, they love her. It ain't just the NXT people that watched her that loved her. It's everybody loves her because they recognize this woman is one of the most talented women to ever lace them up. And in a big match scenario, she's their Rey Mysterio. And man, I love this match. It was incredible. In the finish, I saw it come from all the way, didn't give a fuck, loved it. And Bianca's gear, the level of detail, oh my God, her gear is incredible. The roses and gold and like all like the leaf stuff and like the stuff on the bra. Oh my God, that shit must have took her forever.
She had it done early too, I heard.
She must have had that planned a year ago. That might be like, it's not my favorite gear I've ever seen her in, but like I think this was like the most intricate.
Yeah, these three were very over in their own ways. Bianca was getting, some boos and all that from the crowd and all that, but it didn't really affect the match at all. It actually kind of gave the match actually a good dynamic.
It added to the match.
Yeah.
She told him to kiss her ass.
Yeah. So, as far as Rhea Ripley, she seemed, she doesn't get in the ring often, so it's always good to see her in there.
It's good to show for her to remind people, like, oh yeah, they have me not do this shit, but like, if they let me, I'm fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, so that match had Io, Bianca, and Rhea in it, right?
Yep.
Remember 2018-19 NXT when Shayna Baszler had a reign of terror in the women's division? And those three were chasing her along with Kairi Sane. Remember that?
How could I forget?
What's your favorite Shayna Baszler WrestleMania moment? Now back to those three. They got them. They all got them. Thanks for wasting our fucking time.
Let the fire off right there.
Lacey Evans. Fuck.
But then after that great match, Io retains. And I don't think a lot of people expected her to win because her whole thing was she was the third wheel this whole thing. Bianca and Rhea have been arguing back and forth, but obviously, they do that because they don't want to have Io do all the talking and everything. So that's kind of why they do that. They're loaded with, more talent coming in. So I don't know where they go, but we'll see. Sin City Street Fight, Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. They had a street fight with weapons and tables. Worked very hard. And anytime I see Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, he's going to try to go out there and steal the show. I don't think he achieved his goal, but I think he still had a pretty good match here with Priest. I admittedly wasn't jacked up for this. Even Drew McIntyre himself wasn't jacked up for this thing. But they were like, we're in a fucking stadium. We might as well try to do our best and go for it.
Yeah. That finish was so decisive. It's like, all right, you're going for the you're going for old school. How about this? I shove you down to hell on those tables, then I lift you up, and then that chair you wedged in between the turnbuckles, I'm gonna claymore you into it, and I pin you. Like, yeah, that was a really good match, but it was also decisive. So yeah, I wonder what McIntyre's on to next after this. But yeah, I did enjoy this match. And it didn't need to go out there and try to match the match before because it wasn't ever going to top that.
Yeah. They went for it. They were taking hard ass falls.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Shit. And them is two big ass.
No, that was a quality match. They went out there to have a good ass match. I don't think they were going out there to try to have a classic. I don't think that.
Then we got the 4-way Intercontinental title match. Pretty easily predictable there. They're moving Braun Breaker on. Penta, you're not going to pin him. So that leaves Dom to pin Finn Balor. And apparently the people love Dom Mysterio now, James.
Yep. Weird. Don't know what happened, but he always was over. He just was getting booed. This match was fun. And I will say, I do like the stuff that they were highlighting for Braun Breaker. They made that man look explosive and special in a way that we have not seen from a guy in party matches or tags since maybe like Roman Reigns in 2014 and 13 in the Shield. He's explosive, man. And, it seemed like they set it up for him right now. And look, man, we knew he could always do all that kind of stuff. That's why he got, a lot of interest early in NXT. It just, when it was time for him to be on top in NXT, his matches weren't consistent of as a singles guy. So, I think they're putting him to Seth Rollins, putting him under the learning tree. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that because Seth is a very high floor wrestler. Very high floor wrestler.
And I believe Seth and Braun Breaker wrestled each other in NXT, if I'm not mistaken, once. So, there will be something there. And he's a Heyman guy. He's fine. Penta, I don't know where he goes now, but maybe they link him with his brother. Maybe I don't know.
Look, when it was time for that pin situation, there was nowhere to be found. That man will be in the back when that pin happened.
Very similar finish to the opener with this one. So I was like, who agented these matches? But it is what it is.
I don't mind it because these are triple threat matches. You're not finna finish off one person, not finna quote unquote finish off two people or three people. Like, you have to steal these because people are always going to be abound the danger to steal these.
I'd be on a video game finishing them all off. Pause.
All right,
but
well,
like
you said, video game.
Yeah, I mean, this is video game wrestling. A lot of this stuff right here.
It is. You notice how the triple threat match in the 4-way, like those were the most fun matches of the night. You notice how like the triple threat match at the main event on night one, like when they did like the fun stuff at the end with the stealing, with the flash finishers or whatever else, like that was the best part of the match. It's almost like they realized like the modern wrestling actually works, because I can tell you right now that Io and that Bianca and that Rhea, you can put that anywhere on this planet and it goes. That was modern wrestling brought to WWE, dragged kicking and screaming.
Penta lost to Dominic on Raw. Well, it's time to start breaking them in eventually. And then this entire show went off a fucking cliff after this. And it is nasty time. It is pack time, as one would like to say. They bring Randy Orton out. Randy Orton is wearing gear that is reflective of him as a rookie. It's like the navy blue with the yellow writing on it. It's kind of a dope look or whatever. So they're like, all right, who's going to come out there? So I'm just like, I'm wondering who it is. Who could it be? Is it going to be Rusev? Nah, I don't think they're going to do Rusev. Is it going to be somebody returned from injury? Is it going to be Sami Zayn? Is it going to be Carmelo Hayes? They could easily throw that guy in. Nah, it's none of them. I start hearing that fucking Joe Hendry song, and then I'm just like, I can't believe this. Then he walks out there with the TNA world title on, and I'm like, they're about to send their world champion out here to fight Randy Orton. I was like, okay, let's see what happens. So this was as I mentioned in the comments, this was the replacement for Kevin Owens. It was fucking Joe Hendry. This guy's a meme, a gimmick. The crowd uses it. They recognize him. They know who he is. They're singing the song. He's got a custom style WWE merch or whatever that they're selling for him. But he got in the ring, and all that shit was over. The bell rang. This match went 3 minutes and 10 seconds. This was a squash. There will be dumb people that will try to tell you, they basically locked up. Orton went for a quick RKO, but he got rolled up, and Hendry almost stole it immediately. And Orton was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then I believe Orton took a fall-away slam from Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry started trying to do his whole gimmick. RKO flies in out of nowhere, beats him inside of 3 minutes. Now, if I was to tell you that a world champion came out there and lost in 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and then I told you, would this make you actually want to watch this company, more of this wrestler, anything? This was not a high-speed match where it was competitive going back and forth. This was not Def Yama-san and fucking Hazuki. Like, no, this was Randy Orton walking in and looking at this guy and saying, "Hey, I know nothing about you. What would you like to do? We only have 3 minutes." And then eventually I'm RKOing you, and it's, whatever. And this isn't on Randy Orton. This is what the company booked. This is what TNA approved. How the fuck do you approve this? Like, and then there will be a lot of unintelligent people. Some people within wrestling will try to tell you this is such a huge deal for TNA and everything like that. I couldn't disagree more. Like, that is like a sonning, a little brothering, a hoeing, a complete like domination. And then you stand Joe Hendry next to Randy Orton. It looks crazy in itself. Orton's like 6'5", 290 right now. He's as big as we've ever seen him.
I don't think he's 290. God damn.
Well, his head is fucking gigantic.
Yeah.
It's like he's buried out here.
He's probably like 270 now.
Bro, and then Joe Hendry is wearing the same gear he always fucking wears or whatever. It's like, bro, you're at WrestleMania. Like, break out some new shit or whatever, but he doesn't. Well, and then it's just like,
here's the thing. I don't know how important that is to his gimmick, because like I don't think if Orange Cassidy shows up at WrestleMania, he's gonna be out here in some bedazzled denim, right? I think he's still in the 701s.
That's true.
Are
But
those
I think
701s?
this week,
Y'all tell me in the chat, are those 701s? Anyway, like, but he's definitely gonna be like, if with Orange Cassidy, like I said, this when Orange Cassidy shows at WrestleMania, he's gonna be in the Levi's. When, not if, when.
That man's on that job for life list, but
He can get the job back anytime he wants to.
I think this was just a demonstration of they're shaking their dicks at other promotions, and there's nothing. If TNA is gonna go for it, then they're gonna be.
TNA is out here. They're just.
Bitch gonna give fuck.
Like you mentioned, right? You said WWE is shaking their dicks at promotions, and what does TNA do? They sit in there and they just in awe.
Yep.
Of that thing swinging. Unbelievable.
I can't believe you let us in this building. That's what that was, and it was just like, bro, y'all are fucking marks. Like there's no other way to describe this. This is and this completely derailed the show because they never got back on track.
Here's my question, right? Here's my question. If Joe Hendry wasn't the TNA champion, would WWE want him on the show?
Oh,
like I understand the meme is big, or whatever.
Part of me,
I think the only reason why they want to do that is to clown their fucking champion.
Part of me thinks they intentionally made sure he got strapped up to do that or whatever. Because I remember when he was supposed to win it, he did not win it right away, and then he won it kind of closer to WrestleMania.
Off Ziggler, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
This
or Namath. Like he's going Namath now. Namath.
All money ain't good money. All attention ain't what you looking for or whatever. Like it's like, I thought Joe Lanza had a great point when he was talking about it. He said all you have to do is to ask a question where it was like, yeah, man, name somebody this is work for.
Yep.
So
didn't work for rebranded ECW with Taz.
Yeah.
Or not rebranded, but didn't work for ECW with Taz Triple H. Nope.
So up next, we got Logan Paul versus AJ Styles. And I'm here to say it, James. AJ Styles is cursed at WrestleMania. And I've seen so many people come up with these memes. We'll get there in a second. With these memes, and it's always a constant conversation about AJ Styles' WrestleMania matches. I'm here to tell you, all of them but one almost fucking suck. Or they're just like 2.5, 3 stars, something like that. And it's just like, and it doesn't make sense for such a legend and all-time great wrestler. He just lands on mid, or mid lands on him in this like event for whatever reason. Like he's cursed. Like at this point, there's no denying it. You lay these matches out on paper, as you mentioned, that Shane McMahon won. I always contend that AJ Styles left the peak of himself as a pro wrestler in that match. He left his zenith in that match or whatever. As good as he ever was, he stepped out the ring that day and he was like, "Fuck, I don't get to 100 no more. I get to 91 now or whatever."
So like, let's go through it. So Jericho in 2018 or 16, right?
Decent match.
2017, Shane,
good match.
18, Nakamura with that nonsense.
Not a good match.
19, Orton with the weird lights in the crowd, and the crowd telling them to turn down the lights so they can see the match. 20 is the pandemic match with Undertaker, which don't even count because that's a pre-tape.
Not a real match.
Right. What was 21?
21, he was in a tag team match with Omos and the New Day. Completely forgettable.
Right. Jesus Christ. So
22.
What's 22?
I believe that's Cope. Yep. As he wrestled Edge, as they were all just laying on the ground the entire match. I don't even
remember that.
Yes.
23 wasn't around, right?
2023. I do not recall a match for him.
I don't remember him at WrestleMania 39. And then
if anybody in the comments can look,
last year he had the match with LA Knight, right?
I believe he fought LA Knight, and it was just
and they went out there and had that work shoot tussle at Access and shit when they roll around the ground. And I made fun of them niggas because I was like, y'all niggas want to talk about y'all want to see what what a real fight look like, and then see all these niggas grappling on the ground. This why they made it that's why they made it a work, so you can actually enjoy the wrestling, enjoy the fight. That shit looked terrible. So yeah,
I'm here to tell y'all he is cursed at this event. Like, it's just like, and then this match.
Hey man, give him Phoenix. Give him Phoenix next year.
Look, I don't know if there's a next year for AJ Styles. Like, there might be.
There will be a next year for AJ Styles. Do you see what that man looks like still?
Look, it might be all in for him next year.
Oh, his contract runs out finally.
I believe so.
Well, I'm not holding my breath for that. I'm just not, right? I'm not doing it. I would love for that to happen, but I'm not holding my breath for it. You know, there are people like Ray and like AJ where it's like, look, man, you need to get, after you saw what they did for Sting, you need to get your ass out. You need to get your ass to AEW and let Tony Khan be a mark for you to wait. Look, he's a mark for Adam Copeland. What do you think what kind of mark he is for Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles? Are you kidding me?
Logan Paul does not have what he had a few years ago, as far as being interesting, as far as the wrestling even, and as far as like the match layouts and everything. Okay. The thing is, it feels like it's been done. He's been around for 3 years now. It has worn off.
So now he actually has to wrestle. So he has finally reached the Pat McAfee stage of the programming.
He has basically come out here and done the same thing for 3 years at this point. And the first time, a couple of times we've seen it, oh, it's awesome. He can do these moves or whatever. But now it's like, and then he ran into the AJ Styles curse, which collided with Logan Paul not having it. So this was bad. Like the crowd was just silent. Everybody was looking at it like, what the fuck is happening? Like, it was slow. It was just like, I didn't expect this. And it has a 4.68 on Cage Match, James.
Oh my God. I cannot
imagine. And they are not wrong. Wow. Women's tag match, which was undone one day later. Bayley taken out at an angle the day before that was prearranged. Hilarious. Led to Mercedes saying, hey, call me, or whatever on Twitter.
Did you hear? Look, I don't know if this is true, but someone tweeted out that they chat and Mercedes has recently unfollowed Becky.
Oh, is Smoking City?
I don't know if it's true or if it's actually true that like she unfollowed her recently or whatever else. But like I saw a tweet saying that. Like I may have gotten sent hell. I might be spreading misinformation. If so, forgive me. I'm just reading what my timeline gave me, which means it could easily be bullshit.
One Nation Radio detectives, I'm gonna need y'all to go ahead and find that out and put that in the Discord so we can stay on top of women's business. So
is what we're gonna do every time we talk about women's matches now? We get into women's business.
Yeah, but it's it had a match. I saw Lyra come out on the stage.
I love her, but I agree. I want her nowhere else but the mighty E.
Yeah, she need to stay right there.
She athletically, there is no women's tag division in AEW. Now, if she showed up, Mercedes would get one greenlit, but I don't think it's necessary. And she got a tag partner right now, so stay over there. Make your big money over there.
Liv Morgan and Raquel come out wearing red, and I see Lyra on stage, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? Like, she has like the bird thing on and all that. And I was like, not in a bad way. I was just like, who is that? Like, I just it didn't
not really
compute
familiar.
For me for a second.
You didn't watch NXT?
Yeah. And then obviously Becky comes out, big reaction. I don't even want to go over this match now because they just had a Raw match. Like has a 5 on Cage Match. There's nothing really to it. It was pretty much about them switching the belts, and then the next night they switched them back, and Becky Lynch ended up turning heel on Lyra after the match and attacking her. So, Becky Lynch waited all this time for this creative
comeback and turn heel. Awesome.
come back to turn heel, win a belt in the process or whatever. A lot of Becky Hogan stuff going around. Like the drones are on Becky Lynch's ass in a way that they have not been.
The same way it is with Bianca. It's like, oh my God, this person as a star is very talented in the women's division, keeps getting utilized. We've had enough. That's what it is.
They on her ass.
It's not her turn anymore. We've had enough. That's what it is. That's what happens in the women's division in WWE. It's somebody becomes a star or somebody draws, and then it's a problem that someone's a star or someone draws, because it's not supposed to work that way in the women's division. It's supposed to be they pick anyone new for their amount of time, and they go up and down and up and down. And Becky Lynch has stayed up for 6 years now, so it's a problem.
Yeah.
And Bianca got made in that match with Sasha, so she's been up for relatively like 3 years or whatever else, so it's annoying. And then in a year from now, it'll be time for them to be annoyed with Rhea. It's fucking dumb.
They remember how Becky did Bianca and Sasha at SummerSlam 2 years ago. I do remember that. Look, a lot of this stuff like that Becky Lynch gets like associated to. She's gotten a lot of passes. Like, if this was Charlotte doing that stuff, people would just be like, fucking. What's up?
Remind me what you're talking about?
So remember the squash where she squashed Bianca and then did the whole thing there. And
then
there was a couple
later
returns.
found out that like it was Vince's decision, and Vince wanted actually didn't want to give Bianca the win back, and then Becky had to like lobby to get the win back for Bianca.
Yeah, that's nasty.
But evil politicking Becky.
Like,
all right, whatever.
This whole thing here.
How did the main event go? So you're talking about evil politicking. How did the main event go?
Oh, we're getting there. So the first day they opened with Paul Levesque, of course, putting himself over. You're hearing the first pop of the night. Everybody knew that was going to be the game, baby. Did the whole joint with the Hall of Fame. Played the music again. A little bit less reception that time, but whatever. Someone gets in his ear that he should not do this on day 2, and Stephanie opens the show.
You think so? 2. Or do you think their plan is I always get one night and then she gets the other night? Because that seems to be the plan the last couple of years, right?
I don't know, because they feel like they normally mirror these shows or whatever, and they had a host, some of the other times. Triple H only came out the other times to like retire one time to put his boots in the ring and shit.
Wasn't Stephanie out there last year though?
I can't remember.
Yeah, Stephanie was out there like in the last 2 years for one of these nights of WrestleMania to be like, welcome to WrestleMania.
Got you. So she did it, and then later on night 1, they had Shawn Michaels announce the attendance that sold out with like 61. Then they had Austin announce the attendance that sold out with a different number. So of course they're lying their fucking ass off.
Hey,
but
are you gonna talk about it?
We have to.
Okay.
So Stone Cold Steve Austin is tasked with driving his ATV out to the ring.
Misses the ramp.
At first, we don't know this in real time. He misses the ramp completely. So everyone's kind of wondering where the fuck is Stone Cold as his music is just playing, right? And then he comes back on the joint, and then he comes down the aisle. He circles the ring once, circles it again, and then whatever the fuck happens, he crashes into the guardrail. And my immediate first thought is, this nigga's drunk driving out here.
That's exactly what I was getting to. What do you think this man would have blew in the breathalyzer?
Bro.
On the ATV.
I don't know if it would have been Jeff Hardy numbers, but like, you not telling me that man didn't have a couple Steve Weisers, just hanging out backstage. There's no way that he ain't have a couple Steve Weisers. Nick Khan's over there immediately to try to like, smooths everything out. But I'm telling you, man, if that was me, man, I would have passed out. I would have not woken up until my lawyer told me it was okay. I would have been the booker of WWE once everything was said and done.
I won $150,000.
Look, y'all gonna see.
If we not sell
y'all
out of court for $20, no. You're not talking to Ezel. I was caught on camera getting hit. Nah, man.
Yes, from every angle.
I need these seats to WrestleMania every year until the day I die.
Yep. I don't know, what's going to happen with that situation. If anything else has happened, but like I said, bro, like had it been me, you'd have been seeing like a back bump, a roll, a tuck, where's my neck brace? Where's my wheelchair? We're gonna find a way to get some racks out these folks. Like you're not bringing me in the back and giving me a couple T-shirts. You're not bringing me in the back and telling me I can sit at Monday Night Raw free the next night. Absolutely the fuck not.
I am not a mark.
Correct. I am a worker. Look, I might have bladed. Like, yes, I keep a gimmick with me.
Like what do you want? I want to walk up to CM Punk and talk about workers' rights. That's what I want. That's the kind of power I want to yield.
Like, what do you want? Like Warren G said, I want it all. Every damn thing. I want it all. Brand new socks and drawers. But
man.
We then got to the main event of WrestleMania, a match that has a 3.50 rating on Cage Match. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, 25 minutes and 3 seconds. John Cena wins his 17th championship in absolutely horrific fashion. Hollywood Hulk Hogan is home, baby. And when I say Hollywood Hulk Hogan, I'm not talking about Hollywood Hogan from 96. I'm talking about Hollywood Hogan from 1998. Like, it's as bad as it gets with Cena right now. This nigga's doing eye pokes and shit. Like, wrestling's so fucking slow. None but punches and just like bullshit. Cody Rhodes completely fucking executed as a babyface, giving up all his like everything that they've built up into him from these couple years. Man, I thought they liked him more than this by this point. This is one of these matches where it's like, I never thought he was going back to AEW. It was like, yeah, I could see it one day. You done it all at this point, and you're not really the man like I thought you kind of were. And it's like Cena came back and they've completely committed to this. Like, this was awful. Like, this was horribly worked. This was horribly this was nothing modern at all. Like, this was just like they came out here and just Cena was doing this old man heel offense or whatever.
Okay.
And Cody just like had to like work around him kind of. And then in the middle of the match, Fiend. Travis Scott gets his entire fucking entrance. Of course, I get disconnected from this thing. He gets the whole entrance on this thing, walks fucking slow as hell, and literally takes it all in. And he comes out there, and
in the middle
the
of
whole song plays.
Match.
He gets all the streams. He gets the BDS streams. He gets all that shit like counted or whatever. It's like, come on, dog. Like, I don't like they do this. And then he just does this just most simple, generic, basic interference that there is. Pull the ref out the ring. He gets a move done to him. Yeah, we're reconnected now. Okay. I don't know what happened, but Legento trying to silence me. Triple H trying to silence me for packing this shit up, but so they did all this bullshit with Travis Scott, as I mentioned, gets his whole fucking entrance, walks down the ring like he's the Undertaker, damn near, and is just like gets in very basic, It was just.
I can tell you what happened.
Bad. It was so fucking bad, bro. Like, it was just like, I can't believe that they did this to Cody like this. And then, like, it was as uninspired as it was, and then The Rock's not even there. The Rock's not even there. The Rock basically tells these people to go fuck themselves and blows up, bro. It's so funny on so many ways. The Rock's on McAfee's show today at noon. They're saying, wow, what the fuck is about to happen? So, like, they do this, and the entire thing with Cena does not make sense. Like, from the time, like, Elimination Chamber on, like, this feud is stunk as far as the 3 promos. The match stunk. One of the worst matches of a main event in WrestleMania history. Cena wins his 17th, but The Rock not being there fucked a lot of this program up. And, you know, I think people should ask questions. I don't know if you'll get answers, but you should definitely ask questions like, why the fuck didn't The Rock appear? Why does this guy keep popping in at various points to do whatever the fuck he wants to not do it, to no show, essentially? You know, yeah, I think the natural question for this is, where the fuck is The Rock? Like, and then it's like, if we know what's about to happen, we knew Paul was going to send his soldiers out to be like, all right, this is what really happened to protect me or whatever, because Triple H and The Rock, this feels like another chapter of the great civil war of Paul versus Dwayne that goes back to 1998. And it is like, I can't believe, like, and then the Netflix series that Triple H is shooting, we talked about it earlier, James, this feels like public insurance for Triple H. Like, nah, this is what I had to deal with, and then this guy is fucking this shit up. So the fans on the outside could look at that shit, and then everybody else that gets the news the other ways, you know, can quote unquote get the real story from whether it's Dave, SRS, Trina from Sports Illustrated, who sometimes they use to give stuff, but that still don't excuse the rest of this fucking show. Like the rest of this fucking show wasn't really hitting on much either. So Triple H has his own questions to answer, but there are definitely questions to answer with The Rock and his role in this company. And this match fucking sucked. And, you know, look, they top champions are John Cena and Jey Uso. Good fucking luck. Hated it. And I laughed at it that they do this to Cody. Pack him up. You know, anytime you go back there, you know, they could come back with the plate of shit for you to eat. Like, this, you know, this happened to be a shit day for him. And Cody got booed out the fucking gym.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people just wanted to see, like, it's John Cena's last WrestleMania. They wanted to see 17, and they got it. So this match sucked. But at the same time, while this sucked, I thought this was the best once they got to the You Can't See Me, and they start doing big move, kick out, porn until it was time for Travis Scott to come out. I thought that was like the best John Cena's looked in years. But like, the problem is he did the finger poking stuff and the headlock stuff and the punching and the stomping and like the generic heel stuff, and he was doing it very like, I'm being a bad guy right now that's doing nothing, because that, you know, is like it's almost like he's laughing at Moxley. That's what, like, given what we're watching,
feels meta.
It's almost like he's like, yeah, this is what like other idiots think a bad heel is doing, and I'm doing it because I know it pisses you off, and I'm gonna powder a couple times, and then I'm getting here, and then eventually, like when Cody makes his comeback, we're gonna start kicking out of all this stuff, and then like the crowd, the match will be like okay, and then it'll be time for the rough bump, and then Travis Scott will come out here and it'll fuck up the match completely and drop everything to a dead halt. Once I heard Fiend over and over and over and over again, and I saw how slow he's walking out, I just started laughing at how ridiculous all this shit was. It just turned it like,
so
I cannot wait to show this to Marcus. Marcus gonna laugh at how shitty this is, and like, when he grabbed the belt, when he gave Travis Scott the crossroads, and then he basically like shoves him out the ring with his boot to get out the ring, Cody, and then Cena like has the belt, he's like, yeah, I got the belt, I got you, and then like Cody clearly makes a face like, oh, this nigga's behind me with the belt, I'm ready for him, and then they had a tug of war with the belt, and I'm like, oh, Cody. And then Cody gets the belt, and he's like, I don't know if I should hit him or not. I was like, oh, Cody, he finna kick you in the dick, you damn dummy. And it sure enough kicks him right in the dick, and it grabs the belt back and hits with the belt and pins. So I was like, boy, this match is a big plate. This match is a plate of butt
stinker.
Cheeks. A plate of ass. Man, I was like, I can't believe
this was their grand plan, James. This was their grand plan. Like the great and all-powerful and almighty and all-knowing Paul Levesque has come out here and greenlit this shit. Like the Emperor has no clothes now. Like the fans immediately shit on this, and this is not just me, King of the North, people that be on Twitter making noise and lighting them up normally, right? This ain't just us. This is them. This is they people that was shitting on this and saying The Rock, and they're aiming their ire at The Rock. They're aiming their ire at WrestleMania itself, Triple H, and then they're looking at this whole Cena thing like, why the fuck is Travis Scott here?
Right.
Travis Scott's not even a gangster rapper. It's not like it's 2003 50 Cent walking to the ring looking like he's gonna fuck somebody up. This nigga's just high out there. Like,
bro, and he looks so small next to Cody, and Cody ain't no big dude for WWE wrestling, no way. Like, yeah, man, he
the Hunter honeymoon is over. Team is saying.
Go ahead. Say it again.
The Hunter honeymoon is over.
So yeah, man, like it was very. Like, they made Cody look shitty, but the thing is, Cody's going to win this belt back off of him. I think Cody's going to win the belt back off him at, like, SummerSlam or some shit like that. And
I don't know, man. They didn't have to do it like this. This feels like
point. That's my point.
This is
like,
generational execution.
Their logic is, well, we gave him the visual pin during the ref bump, but it's like, bro, you ain't learned this lesson. You ain't learned this lesson from when you was doing this shit with the Bloodline. No one gives a fuck about the visual pins. You just a loser. Yo, and we just moving on to the next one after this.
Once you decide to bring Travis Scott out in the middle of your WrestleMania main event, all that is out the fucking window.
Right. Like
you've fundamentally chosen.
If they have the same exact match, go a little bit longer with action, minus the Travis Scott stuff, have the ref bump and all that kind of stuff, have the belt tussle, all that kind of stuff. I don't think this match gets nearly killed, but it's like, what the fuck does Travis Scott have to do with any of this? It's a Deus Ex Machina. It's like, what we have. This is an issue. I understand the thing happened, but it's like this match is happening between these two people. The ref gets knocked out. Travis Scott shows up. We didn't know he was even there. He shows up. He gets thrown out or whatever else. And then Cena wins. It's like, we don't know if we'll ever see Travis Scott in WWE ever again.
And for the rest of history, whatever. The rest of history, the last time John Cena competes at WrestleMania, like this shit's on video or whatever. Yeah. So it's like, huh? Right. Like, I don't.
John Cena winning 17 as a heel with Travis Scott. Why? Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, it's like you fundamentally committed to doing bullshit. And it's like,
it's so
there's
random.
No explanation for this.
It's random and it's unearned.
Yeah. It feels like, it's like they have such a lust.
They have such a lust for shit at the wall.
They have a lust for celebrity. They have a lust for Hollywood, like as far as wanting to be associated with whatever, but like, I don't know. Travis Scott's a big rapper, but like, he's not big to these.
When Travis Scott came out, then I heard that Fiend or whatever else. I felt a lot like Michael Jordan. I felt like a hater of the hip hop community. I was about to say, what the fuck is Travis Scott doing here? You know what? I'm gonna pull out my Michael Jordan. Fuck rap. Like, get it out of here. Get it out of here. look, at that point in time, as he was walking like he was goddamn Roman Reigns and Undertaker down to the ring, I felt like I wanted to go to the Def Jam Christmas party and start telling all them niggas I don't give a fuck about you cared about my basketball career. Fuck rap. I only came here to talk to Hov and Mariah Carey. I didn't come here to talk to you, Red Man. I didn't come here to talk to you. I didn't come here to talk to you, millionaire. Get it out of here.
Yeah, man. It was feeling like, West Texas rednecks. It was like, hey, man, we need to get this hip-hoppity shit out of here.
No, man, for people in the chat, you don't get it. There's an old story about Michael Jordan went to a Def Jam Christmas party and he went there to talk to Jay-Z and Mariah Carey, and when every other rapper came up to him and talk about get an autograph or talk to him, whatever else, he told all of them niggas, fuck rap. That's the story. And when Travis Scott came out there, I felt like Michael Jordan at the exact moment, fuck rap. Tell all them rappers, all them niggas, tell Noriega and all them, fuck rap. And he did that hand motion when Noriega recounted the story. He said that Michael Jordan did this. He said, fuck rap, and did this hand motion. Yes, all of that. Look, man, I'm sorry. I can't. I don't know what this nigga got to do with Cody Rhodes or John Cena. Or, I mean, if you want to say they're part of that whole sex cult with The Rock, sure. I have yet to see any more of this Quarter Owl's Illuminati Hollywood sex cult shit.
How the fuck did you sell Cody Rhodes on doing this? Like, if the option, I assume every option was presented to him, right? And they were like, you could turn heel or you could accept this. And he accepted this, and we thought it was smart in time because they were like, why would you give up the number one babyface position? What the fuck was the heel offer?
See, this is the thing. This is the thing, though, right? You forgot that Cody got a humiliation kink. This man, how many times we seen this man go out there and get whooped on his camera with a belt or a strap? How many times we seen it happen with The Rock in the last year and 3 months?
Bro,
he lives for this.
Bro, The Rock
for this. He lives to be embarrassed.
The Rock pinned that man last year and never gave it back.
Right.
True worker.
Right. And ever since then, they was kissing and hugging on stage until Rock said, I want you to come to this. I want you to come down into this bedroom with me, whatever else, so we can start this sex party. And Rock and Cody was like, nah, I ain't going that far with you, brother. Go fuck yourself. And then he said, all right, well, I guess I'll go to the sex party with John Cena instead then.
Crazy, man.
The world heavyweight champion is a nigga with a ball spot.
Insane. And he said he got the surgery or whatever, but like,
oh, he did?
Oh no, that's what he said.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like on McAfee shit. But what do you make of this? The questions that linger between like Rock's involvement and Triple H.
Look, regardless of whatever is going on with how effective the bill was for WrestleMania or what it was it going to be? One thing is for sure, Rock is meddling in this shit and he's making it worse. Regardless of how good or bad it is, and it's bad, Rock is making it worse, not better. He's making it better when he shows up, and then when it's time to lay out programs, make it make sense in post after Rock, does his shit, is bad. Like, for example, I remember someone mentioned that like a lot of the best movie editors were women. And it was like, because it's dudes pointing their cameras at stuff and shooting it. And then they got all this shit, right? They got all this shit. And then women, they take it and they got to make it make sense in the edit, right? Like, perfect example is like, I'm not going to get into that, but like, it's one of those, right? And Triple H's job right now, when it comes to Rock just shooting shit, is he got to try to make it make sense. And Rock and Triple H got his own problems making the shit that he shot make sense. Now you got to worry about some shit that other people shoot make sense. It's a fucking disaster over there right now. And then, it could be better if you just say, hey, well, regardless of what we do, we'll save it in the ring. They only doing that a third of the time between both of these cards. This the biggest wrestling show. This the biggest wrestling show of the year every single year. We only guaranteed to see one good night of wrestling. If that, this year we only got half a good night of wrestling.
Yes, spread over 2 nights.
Right.
So Adam LA 60 in the comments is saying, so there's no way in fuck I'm ever going to watch the 67-minute speech to verify this, but I'm being told Triple H did not mention The Rock in his Hall of Fame speech, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
If you were Triple H right now after what he just did to my WrestleMania main event and what he did to Cody Rhodes, my top babyface, would you want to mention him in your fucking Hall of Fame speech?
Look,
if I did,
I would not want to.
If I did, it'd be nothing me cussing him out.
It would be telling that it's telling that he didn't either way now.
I agree.
So like, Keem brings it up. Nick Khan is Dwayne's guy. He'll throw Hunter under the bus with quickness. Yes, because Hunter is not on the board. Rock is.
Right.
So like, Triple H just works there, kind of.
We're aware.
So like, what I want to know is like how like Vince has to be involved in this somehow. Like there has to be like some kind of like there's a third party here doing something like as far as now. Y'all see the triangle up there, right? This is One Nation Radio.
They don't care.
Like, you don't care about this shit. Y'all see that triangle on the One Nation Radio logo. So we going into conspiracy zone here. So like, I feel like Vince is the one kind of between them trying to make this shit, hold this shit together or whatever, but ultimately like leaving them with room to do whatever. But I don't know, man. This doesn't look good, and quite frankly, fuck them. It don't deserve to look good. This promotion sucks. They demonstrated it throughout the week with that PR shit. No one should root for this company. They had so many wrestlers sidelined to whore themselves out for mainstream publicity and basically, trying to big brother all these other promotions and stuff like that. And the bigger this entity gets and everything like that, the more it's going to add to whatever history it's already created, right? There's only so much we can do about it. But Bart Scott once said it, anybody can be beat. And boy, the time has come. Like as far as like the wheels coming off this shit, they got to restart. They got to come up with all new things for these people to do that Triple H was gifted previously. Now let's see it. Let's see, the creativity. Let's see, moving it forward, like without with the whole PR stunts that everything has been going on.
Rich,
so
I hate to tell you this, but you saying what they gonna do, and the answer is they'll just wait until the next AEW main eventer reaches free agency and then sign him in, and then they'll be the next Cody. They'll just keep that on a relay rule. Like they ain't got. That's the reason why they ain't got to worry about NXT and developing new stars. They developmental is on Turner. So I get what you said, but that's what's gonna happen. They just gonna pluck the next guy, or not pluck. They gonna sign the next guy that's a big star, that's on big money deal, that's doing well in AEW. Wants to get fed up with whatever AEW is doing. That's stuck in their craw, or a collective of people from AEW. It might not even be AEW no more. It might be no Elite Wrestling, but whatever. We'll get to that when we'll get to that when he gets to it. But boy, I'm telling you, them Kenny Omega WrestleMania matches gonna hurt y'all souls. This shit gonna hurt y'all souls in 2027 or 2028 or whatever the fuck. So yeah, man,
that would suck. That would suck. I'm
done with this company. Like, all right, we'll see.
Disgusting.
They'll always have more moves. There's always more moves, Rich. There's always more moves.
That's why it's important to take the fight to these niggas. Like, just don't let them have it.
These niggas.
Take the fight to them. Like go out on Twitter. Look, because we know they be selling the shit on social media. Fuck the Fed. Like hell no. Like that shit. That shit is ass, bro. Like this shit can't be like what's allowed. Like it can't be the way it was, for 20 years or whatever. Nah, this is like it. Like they drawing up the map right now. It's like what side you want, who you with, like Lil Johnson, who you with. Like do you want to have Travis Scott interrupting your biggest match of the year and shit like that? Is this the vision you see for yourself, or do you want to come to where the best wrestle? You want to go to Shinohan Pro Wrestling? You want CMLL to retain its history and shit like that? Do you want Stardom to continue and not get fucking bought out and made a tab on Peacock? Hell no, man. This is corporate overlordry. It's a word that I'm making up, whatever. Like, and the thing is, with Vince, at least it was pro wrestling, right? Even though he didn't want to call it pro wrestling and all this other shit, right? Like, it was made from pro wrestling sensibilities or whatever, pro wrestling history, right? This is TKO. This is some other shit. This is a corporation. They don't give a fuck about the wrestlers. They don't give a fuck about the fans. All they care about is $1. Like, and how to maximize it, how to make it. There's no feeling behind it. There's no soul behind this. This is bullshit, pretty much. So
I get what you're saying, but there was no soul behind WrestleMania 35 either. So
agree. But at least it was a human, and it went that way. Like this is a cold corporation, and that shit is it's man against machine right now.
Awful show.
Throw this shit.
Awful main event.
Like throw this shit in the pack. Move this shit back to one night.
Travis Scott, FOH nominee. I don't know if he was listed last night or whatever else. Need to be on there. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Like,
so we told y'all we was gonna give y'all like an hour and a half. We gave y'all almost 3 hours.
Look at that. But yeah, man, like WrestleMania fucking stunk. Like, they're lucky to watch.
They gave you 3 matches inside of an hour and a half that are worthy of your time, and then on the first half of night 2, and then the rest is like some okay matches, and then a lot of utter disappointment, or just melodramatic bullshit in the way of the good wrestling at the most important moments, and also giving you a motherfucker named with going for the main event in the opener. What the fuck? Like, just words don't mean anything, Rich. Main event is a mindset, Rich.
And like, there's no reason to really get angry over this because it is WWE. You should only get so upset about this at this point, especially if you listen to this show. Like, I'm not actually upset with WWE or anything like that. It's just like, I'm telling you how
I'm upset with my time being wasted. So I disagree.
Yeah. Okay.
And I say that as a person that skipped through like a third of, or like half or a third of the shows, and I still had my time wasted. If you watch all of this with all the time stoppage, you should be enraged.
Yep. For Travis Scott to get sent out there at the end is very embarrassing, to say the least. But
can you imagine we watched the NBA Finals, and then during Game 7 of the NBA Finals in the fourth quarter, motherfucking Drake comes out to the floor for no goddamn reason. Nigga, what?
Yeah. Tries to steal the ball from somebody or some shit.
Imagine you. I know people could be like, "Well, that's a legitimate sport." Okay, imagine you was watching Creed 4, and then in the 12th round, motherfucking Kendrick Lamar came out to the ring. You wouldn't think that was fucking absurd, asinine, ridiculous, preposterous?
Yeah,
we have crackheads in the decision-making process. These are crackhead decisions.
Crack house.
Put down the hot glass.
So, the faster this Death Riders thing gets figured out, It's about to be some space opened up, I feel like.
Buddy. They take the belt off Jon Moxley. This would make me take the belt off Jon Moxley today. Look, he lost an exhibition match in Rio de Janeiro, like the same place where they came up with the tournament for the fucking Intercontinental Championship. Like, bro, he just lost it. He had an exhibition match out there. He lost it or whatever else. And Swerve's champion or somebody's champion out of random, right? Like, this will be the impetus to make me say we turn this shit around now. While the iron's hot, because the Russian is cut up, quote unquote. Like the momentum we lost by them being, them getting hot with the bloodline or whatever else. Like, that is dwindling. They need to strike now to try to gain back the land they lost. That's what they should be trying to do. But we'll see. They only have a stadium show they need to fill out in the next 2 months.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that's pretty much it. WWE, you can go to hell.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to rate somewhere app you're using to listen to us with. If you are watching from the stream, be sure to wait for the show to come out and go to our notes in our show notes at the podcast. And you can go to Red Circle link there to donate. And be sure to check out our Chop Tees store. Pick up some merch there. And listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, All Things Elite, AEW Match Guide, Imp's WWE Adventure, Wrestling Art with Chris Things, Tonal Talk, and the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Till we find the righteous ones, Computer Blue.
Hey, Kristen, how's it tracking?
With Carvana Value Tracker.
What else?
Oh, it's tracking. In fact, Value Surge Alert trucks up 2.5%. Vans down 1.7%.
Just as predicted.
Mm-hmm.
So, we gonna...
I don't know. Could sell, could hold.
The power to always know our car's worth.
Exhilarating, isn't it?
Tracking.
Always know your car's worth with Carvana Value Tracker.